LoveLore Library. Chapter 273. The first semester of the third year of high school ended again. During the final exams, Tanghua and Wei Yu were still in the first and second positions. The position behind Fu Zhuoshu changed countless times, but he was still firmly in the third position. He was determined not to let anyone take it away from him, and he spent less and less time with Ji Xiaoxi. If Ji Xiaoxi's hair had not grown out, he would have broken up with her long ago. Now that Ji Xiaoxi was becoming more and more difficult to deal with, he was already very annoyed. Ji Xiaoxi was still in the third examination hall. She looked at the black pill in her hand and swallowed it. Soon, it was the college entrance exam. Tanghua had many more fans. On the day of her college entrance exam, her fans sent her their blessings. Some shareholders sent their blessings because Tanghua did not hide anything and gave them many directions. Although they did not earn much, they did not lose everything like before. On the day before the college entrance exam, Ji Xiaoxi, who had not appeared in a long time, Tanghua. Ji Xiaoxi, school bell, do you have any more super smart pills? A few days ago, when she was revising, Ji Xiaoxi suddenly realized that she seemed to know everything when she opened the book, but when she closed the book, she could not understand anything. She had done that question before, but when she did it, she kept making mistakes. She should have filled in the answers correctly, but she did not know why she filled in the wrong answers. She seemed to have lost her ability to calculate. Her brain seemed to have not worked for a long time. She should have answered the questions correctly when she had seen them before. In the past, during the final exams, she only needed to flip through a book quickly and then take the exam. She could answer all the questions she had seen before. Previously, she thought that when it was the college entrance exam, she would close the book and take the exam. She did not expect that, with her marks, she would not even be able to get into an ordinary undergraduate program. At this moment, Ji Xiaoxi panicked. She thought that she was smart enough and only needed to flip through the book and not do the practice questions. She would still do well in the final exams. Why was it not so? The college entrance exam was tomorrow. She did not have the chance to revise at all. Suddenly, she remembered a group that she had not been in for a long time. Tanghua had been keeping in touch with the group members. She was not surprised by Ji Xiaoxi's appearance. When Ji Xiaoxi asked her to exchange super smart pills for the second time, she knew that this would happen. This was because she had only given her 12 pills the second time. The pills from the first semester of the second year, the second semester, and the first semester of the third year were exactly 12 pills. With Ji Xiaoxi's personality, she definitely wouldn't save her intelligence for the college entrance exam. She subconsciously thought that she could exchange her intelligence with Tanghua. Host, you are so sinister. Ziyun Dao Master and the others, who hadn't spoken, also sighed silently in their hearts. Yes, the school bell was really insidious. At first, he didn't think that there was anything wrong with 12 stones. After being in contact with Ji Xiaoxi for a long time, he also knew that there were several semesters in this Plains High School. Now that Ji Xiaoxi had come over to ask about pills, it was probably to prepare for the legendary college entrance exam that would change her life. The school bell was really amazing. She had calculated this point and had also thoroughly figured out Ji Xiaoxi's personality. Campus bell, I told you last time. That was the last exchange. Ji Xiaoxi panicked. School beauty, please help me one more time. Just this once. I promise I won't ask you to exchange pills again. School bell, you don't have anything that I'm interested in. The things you exchanged with me before can't be exchanged for so many things. You're so smart. Do you really think you picked up the medicinal herbs for refining pills? System, actually, I really picked it up. Vertex. Chapter 274. Ji Xiaoxi panicked and couldn't control herself anymore. She typed a lot of words. If it wasn't for Tanggua's understanding of her, she might have sympathized with her. No one in the group came out to help. They were all aware of Ji Xiaoxi's ugliness, so no one sympathized with her. Although the school bell's smart pills were meant to tease her, if the other party was a smart and hardworking person, they would use these pills reasonably. The pills could be used to solve difficult problems that they usually couldn't solve, as well as some problems that they usually couldn't handle. In the end, they could definitely be admitted to a good university. However, she only wanted to reap without sowing and used her super smart pills on exams. It was simply a waste of talent. She deserved to end up like this. Ji Xiaoxi, I'll use all my items to exchange for one pill. Just one pill, okay? Ji Xiaoxi's thoughts were that she was relatively equal in all other subjects except language. She had learned these 3 subjects since she was young, so she had an advantage. On the other hand, there were only 3 subjects in the science exam. There was more content and the questions were more difficult. She would use this pill on the science exam. Tanggua raised an eyebrow and agreed. She also said, super smart pills can only eat 15 pills at most. How many did you eat before? I remember that you gave some to your friend last time. Even if you split it in half, it shouldn't be a problem. Ji Xiaoxi felt the soles of her feet turn cold. She had a bad feeling. She had eaten 16 pills by herself. School bell, what do you mean? What will happen if I eat more than 15 pills? I didn't give it to you for your own good. I was afraid that if you ate more than 15 pills, you would be stuck forever. I can't do anything about it. It's because I overused my brain. This is also why I said last time that it would be the last deal. If you didn't come for your friend, I wouldn't have given it to you. I'll give you 16 pills in total. Even if you only give one to your friend and you eat 15 pills, there won't be such consequences. I'll give it to you. What? Ji Xiaoxi's eyes widened. She took off her wig and touched her bald head. In an instant, all the blood drained from her head. She would never grow hair again. Super smart pills could only eat 15 pills. Ji Xiaoxi angrily picked up her phone and typed, "Why didn't you say so earlier? I only planned to give you 16 pills. You even said that you would give them to your friends. No matter how much you ate, you would never exceed 15 pills. I also forgot about this problem. After all, very few people want to exchange this from me. The most they can exchange is no more than 15. If it's more than that, I won't give it to them. You're an exception. If it weren't for your relationship with your friend, I wouldn't have made an exception. Host, your explanation is so serious. I almost believed you." The system silently peeked at him. "Is this for your friend or for you? And how many have you eaten so far?" Tanggua asked silently. Ji Xiaoxi was still immersed in the fact that she would never be able to grow hair because of herself. The other party only thought that she had given it to her friend. This was a trap that she had dug herself. Who could she blame? "Ji Xiaoxi, do you still need it? To be honest, I don't want to make an exception for you a second time. If you don't need it, I'll leave." Ji Xiaoxi reacted. "Yes, I'll give you the rest." Since he couldn't grow hair anymore, there was no difference between eating one less or one more. Tomorrow was the college entrance exam. She had to perform exceptionally well. After exchanging the pills, Ji Xiaoxi was no longer in the mood to study. She lay on the bed in a daze. She couldn't help but touch her bald head. Once she thought about how she would never be able to grow hair, her tears fell. Peak. Chapter 275. When the college entrance examination results came out, number 1 high school was in the limelight. The top scorer for 2 subjects would probably not appear for many years to come. It should be said that it might not appear again in the future. What was even scarier was that the 2 of them were a couple. The scariest thing was that Wei Yu was once last place. The teacher was not surprised that they scored full marks. Their usual test papers were also very perfect. Only the language teacher would deduct 1 point out of friendship. There were many teachers marking the college entrance examination papers. A full score essay had to be unanimously agreed by several teachers. Who knew that these 2 who scored full marks would end up with full marks in all subjects, and they were even a couple? Ji Xiaoxi looked at the report card in her hand and tears fell. Chinese 109, Mathematics 70, English 93, Science 130, a total of 402. She finally broke down. If she did not eat the science exam, her final score would definitely be below 100. Back then, other than her final exam score of 500 and above, even in the midterm exam, she could still hover around 480 with some cleverness without taking any pills. The college entrance examination final score was 402 points, which was not even the undergraduate score. She had never thought that her results would be so bad. If she did not take any pills, what would her score be? She would not even be able to reach 400. She stared blankly at the 2 people being interviewed on the television. Even if Tang Guo's face was ruined, her eloquent manner was still dazzling. Even a handsome guy like Wei Yu could not steal her light. Ji Xiaoxi covered her face and cried. Why was it like this? She had been studying every day. Tang Guo did not spend much time studying. She finished her homework in the classroom every day before going back. There were no books in her bag at all. She was just like Tang Guo. She even brought her homework home to finish. They had the same amount of studying time, but she got 402 while Tang Guo got full marks. Xiaoxi, do you want to repeat your studies or choose a better specialization? You might not have done well this time. If you repeat your studies, I'll use the money I saved for you to study in college. If you don't want to repeat your studies, you can go to a specialization. It's not like there's no chance in a specialization. You can even upgrade your specialization. As long as you work hard, you won't be worse than others. Ji Xiaoxi's mother comforted her daughter and patted Ji Xiaoxi's head. Is it because of your hair loss that you can't calm down? When you've decided, I'll take you to a specialist. Ji Xiaoxi's expression was wooden. Let's go to a specialization. Why did she want her to go back to number 1 high school? Tang Guo and Wei Yu went to be university. Fu Zhuoshu also went to be university. When he saw these 2 perverts going to be university hand in hand, his heart ached. He couldn't help but admire Wei Yu. How much did he like Tang Guo? How much effort did he put in to stand in the same position as Tang Guo? Fu Zhuoshu was relieved was Tang Guo was Tang Guo's. Tang Guoyushi's was Tang Tang's was Tang. He and Ji Xiaoxi had already broken up. He didn't like Ji Xiaoxi. At that time, he had acted in a fit of pique. He had indeed let her down. He wanted to be tactful, but Ji Xiaoxi was too unreasonable. In the end, it was his parents who settled the matter. Ji Xiaoxi only broke up with him after taking a sum of money from his family. Tang was. It was probably because of her face. Her face was very similar to Tang Guo's. Peak. Chapter 276. Ji Xiaoxi went to a good specialist school. At first, she also signed up for a major. She was full of enthusiasm and swore to work hard to get promoted. She wanted those who looked down on her to open their eyes wide and see that she was just a dusty pearl. But in the next semester, she could not calm down. She started to fall in love. She went out to bars with her classmates and played games online all night. She no longer pursued high scores in exams. She only wanted to pass and not fail. She could not go to classes that she did not like. She would not go if she could not wake up in the morning. She would ask someone to help her take attendance. Even if she went, she would play with her phone. Anyway, everyone said that university was for fun. In the few days before the exam, she would memorize and take the exam. She forgot the unwillingness in her heart, forgot to show those who looked down on her, and forgot her desire to advance to a major. When her parents called, her excuse was always that she was busy with her studies. She always called her parents and said that she did not have any living expenses. Tang Guo and Wei Yu's school life was still very sweet. Tang Guo did not intend to take the business route in this world. She took the academic route of a top student. She chose the most difficult mathematics department. Wei Yu did not choose economics. Instead, he chose biology. This surprised many people. Every time someone asked him, "Isn't it best to choose economics since your family owns a mine?" Wei Yu only smiled. "I'm more interested in biology." The two of them were busy with their own studies. Every day, they would take an hour to meet, eat, and chat. They showed off their love and displayed a wave of public display of affection in B University. Everyone thought that the two of them would choose to get married after graduation. Unexpectedly, that was not the case. Tang Guo devoted herself to mathematics, but no matter how busy she was, she would meet Wei Yu every week. Their relationship was not affected at all. Wei Yu also continued to work on the research of biology and the development of the Wei Corporation. In the end, he set up his own laboratory and the Wei Corporation fully invested in it. Everyone knew that Wei Yu was doing a very mysterious experiment, but no one knew the details. Tang Guo won the Hua Luogang Mathematics Award at the age of 27. At that time, Wei Yu had expanded the Wei group tenfold, but he spent more time in the laboratory and still met Tang Guo twice a week. When Tang Guo was 32 years old, she won the Wolf International Mathematics Prize. She won the highest honor for China's mathematics and also made a great contribution to the mathematics world. In the second year, the mathematical formula named Guo's formula appeared in the mathematics textbooks of high school students. The expressions of the students in No. 1 middle school at that time were like this, at that time, Wei Yu was a very low-key richest man in the country and was even ranked in the top 10 in the world. However, he still did not put his energy into the company. He spent all his time in the laboratory. Everyone was used to it. Perhaps this was Chairman Wei's hobby. Although he didn't achieve much, it was much better than those greedy and lecherous CEOs. Tang Guo won the Fields Medal at the age of 35. The name of Tang Guo once again resounded throughout the world. She had won limitless glory for China. At that time, the concept of Guo's formula had already filled the entire high school textbook. The students in number 1 middle school, "Senior, please don't hurt us like this. There are too many formulas, too complicated, too difficult to calculate, too difficult to memorize. Seeing that we are all schoolmates, can you be merciful?" However, the reality was that Guo's formula, concepts, and new theories were constantly appearing. The textbooks of high school students were getting more and more difficult year after year. The mathematics subject in China had become the most difficult subject of all. Every time they stared at the Guo's formula, the students couldn't help but go online and find a photo of that smiling woman and stare at it for a long time. A living mathematician was really scary, especially a female mathematician. Her hair was so thick, but she wasn't bald. It was so scary. Peak. Chapter 277. This year, Tang Guo was 38 years old, and Wei Yu was 40 years old. The two of them agreed to meet at a cold drink shop. Wei Yu was already a mature man, and time did not leave any traces on his face. This man was like a fine wine, becoming more and more fragrant as time passed. However, the gaze in Tangua's eyes was still pure and affectionate. As long as she frowned slightly, he would be very worried. What kind of ice cream does Guoguo want to eat? He asked this question countless times without getting tired of it. The corners of Tangua's mouth curled up. I want every kind. She was also very willing to answer. Okay, Guoguo will wait. The man turned around to buy ice cream and asked the shop assistant to dig out a small spoon of each kind of ice cream. Soon, he came back with the ice cream and placed it in front of Tangua, handing her a small spoon. He didn't eat anything and just watched her eat. That doting gaze was simply about to melt the hearts of all the female shop assistants. Even though the two of them would come to their shop every week to eat all the flavors of ice cream, and every dog food made their hearts feel stifled, they would not be used to it if they did not come for a week. Tangua buried her head in the ice cream and ate it. She was almost 40 years old, but she still looked like a little girl. Host, according to the plot, Wei Yu's life is coming to an end. The system carefully reminded. In his previous life, he was a gangster boss and died in a fight with someone. However, some plots are irreversible, such as death. I understand. Tangua curled the corners of her mouth and tasted the delicious ice cream seriously. In the remaining time of his life, I will accompany him well and let him leave without regrets. Host, aren't you sad? Are you sad? Wei Yu should be the person who treats you the best. He was referring to the small world he had experienced. Only Wei Yu had never hurt the host in the slightest. Since high school, he had carefully protected and doted on his host. Tangua's lips curled into a faint smile. Of course I'm sad. It's a pity. I really like him. But death is not scary to me. The scariest thing is that my death is just another beginning, an endless cycle. Tangua ate a bowl of ice cream for half an hour. Seeing that she had finished eating, Wei Yu took out a tissue and carefully wiped the corners of her mouth. His sincere look was as if he was treating a precious and fragile object. Boyfriend. Tangua looked at him. Do you want to get married? Wei Yu was stunned for a moment. He threw the tissue into the wastebasket and caressed her face with his palm. His voice was low and hoarse. I think about it all the time. Then let's get married. Wei Yu's eyes flashed with surprise as he held his girlfriend's hand. Is Guoguo proposing to me? Yeah. I should be the one to propose to Guoguo. Wei Yu's eyes were filled with smiles. He held her hand tightly and gazed at her affectionately. Guoguo, give me some time. I will give you my most precious gift. All right, I'll satisfy you. The two of them walked out of the cold drink shop hand in hand. They looked really compatible. From that day on, Wei Yu became even busier. It wasn't until a year later that Tangua received a call. At that time, she was calculating a very complicated formula. Tangua, who had always been professional, threw down the results in her hand and turned to leave. At the Wei family's private hospital, Tangua pushed open the door. Seeing this, the people inside quickly retreated. She came to the bedside and held Wei Yu's hand. Wei Yu's face was a little pale, and he was even thinner than when they met 2 days ago. Guoguo, this is the best gift I can give you. Wei Yu took out a transparent glass bottle filled with green liquid. Peek. Chapter 278. Tangua held the glass bottle and asked in a low voice, "What is this? It looks so beautiful, like it's glowing. It's really the best gift I've received in my life." Tangua smiled. I won't be able to receive a better gift than this in the future. Wei Yu's eyes lit up and he said hopefully, skin regeneration fluid. I've named it skin regeneration fluid. He touched the hideous scar on Tangua's face with heartache. Guogua is a girl who loves to be beautiful. How can I let this scar stop Guogua's beauty? Tangua was stunned and looked at Wei Yu in a daze. You've been studying for half your life just for this? Yes. Wei Yu was a little excited. This is the greatest achievement of my life. His eyes were bright. This is my proposal gift. I hope you like it. She was so perfect and liked to pursue perfection. How could he not be willing to help her be more perfect? He loved her, the kind of love that deeply. Her every frown and smile could affect his heart. If she was sad, his heart would ache. If she was happy, he would be happy. Her happiness was his happiness. Tangua patted Wei Yu's face and smiled. Boyfriend, you're really too willful. In order to study this regeneration fluid, you don't even care about your own body. Do you know? I actually don't care about this scar. She was really charming when she smiled. Boyfriend, do you have any misunderstanding about my charm? I have countless admirers with this scar. People praise me for my beauty every day. Do you have to provoke so many love rivals for yourself? Seeing Wei Yu's stunned expression, Tangua lowered her head and kissed his lips. But I really like it. Boyfriend, you're so good to me. But I'm a little angry. I've become beautiful, but you're gone, Guogua. Tangua reached out to cover his lips. Didn't you propose to me? I agree. Let's get married tomorrow. Guogua, isn't tomorrow a little too rushed? Wei Yu was a little confused. He hadn't prepared everything about the wedding yet. Even if they were going to get married, they had to give her a wedding that she would never forget. You don't have to worry about that, boyfriend. I got someone to arrange the wedding a year ago. You just have to show up tomorrow. Wei Yu knew that there was something wrong with his body. He was clearly fine 2 days ago, but he collapsed just like that. He was very panicked. He was afraid that if he left, Guogua would be sad. He was also afraid of losing her. Holding his girlfriend's hand, he felt more at ease. Guogua wanted to marry him, but he was a little hesitant. He didn't have long to live. If he got married, wouldn't he be holding Guogua back? Boyfriend, if you dare to run away from the marriage, I will let you die with everlasting regret. Wei Yu hurriedly threw the idea of running away from the marriage to the back of his mind. Guogua was someone who kept her word. He was not afraid of dying with everlasting regret. He was afraid that she would hurt herself. Tangua sat with Wei Yu in the ward for a long time. During this time, she browsed through the plane group. After thinking for a while, she sent out a message. Sage Siyun, do you have the life-prolonging pill? Ziyun Jinren, yes, yes. Campus Bell, how many do you need? Campus Bell, give me one first. I'll try to see if it works. Some things in the plot were irreversible. She could change the plot, but she couldn't change the length of his life. As the system said, she really did want Wei Yu to live a little longer. After getting the life-prolonging pill, Tangua came to Wei Yu's side and directly fed it to him. Swallow it. Peek. Chapter 279. Wei Yu did not dare to disobey and quickly swallowed it. Seeing this, she was both angry and amused. This fool was really obedient. He was so obedient that it moved people. System, help me scan my boyfriend's body and see if the life-continuing pill has any effect. The system was very fast and soon came up with a result. Sorry, host, the life-continuing pill has no effect. Tangua understood. She had guessed that it might be useless, and it really was useless. She squatted beside Wei Yu and asked softly, "Boyfriend, do you have any regrets in your life?" "Regrets?" Wei Yu thought for a while and held Tang Guo's hand tightly. "I don't have any regrets in my life. Instead, I'm very lucky to have met you. Guo, I don't have any regrets. If I really don't have 2 more days to live, I'll only regret that I can't continue to be by your side." "Host, your boyfriend's thoughts are so simple. He's too easy to satisfy. He's not greedy at all. He loves you so much." The system waved its handkerchief and cried like a tearful person. The wedding was held the next day. When countless people received the invitation that night, they were all dumbfounded. Only those who were well informed knew that Wei Yu's body couldn't take it anymore. For a moment, countless people couldn't help but sigh. What a beautiful couple. No matter how busy the people who were invited were, those who could rush back had to rush back overnight. Those who were further away could only watch helplessly. Fortunately, there was still the live broadcast of the wedding for them to enjoy. Tang Guo wore a pure white wedding dress and held Father Tang's hand as they walked towards the auditorium. Everyone was stunned when they saw her bright and clean face. After Wei Yu held her from Father Tang's hand and looked at her beautiful face, he no longer had any regrets. At this moment, Tang Guo took the microphone and said to the countless people below, "He is Wei Yu, my future husband. He is a great person." Tang Guo took out a glass bottle filled with green liquid. There was still half a bottle of green liquid left. "This is skin regeneration liquid. It can promote the regeneration of damaged skin." As soon as she finished speaking, the people who had come to attend the wedding were shocked. They all thought that this was a miracle in the history of the biological world. Once this regeneration liquid was put into production, it would be a huge improvement for humans. Not only does he know how to earn money, but he's also a biologist. Do you have any objections? No, he didn't have any opinions at all. Tang Guo was satisfied. She smiled and looked at the doting Wei Yu. "Wei Yu, I'll marry you. Will you marry me?" "I am willing." "It's your turn." Wei Yu's lips curled up as he gazed at her affectionately. "Guo, I want to marry you. Are you willing to marry me?" "I do." Tang Guo's smile softened. "Hubby, it's time for us to exchange rings." "Wife, don't worry, I'll help you put it on right away." The priest was speechless. Who am I, where am I, what am I doing here? The people watching the wedding were speechless. What a display of affection. It was still the same. The wedding of the century ended in a daze. This awesome couple had completed their own wedding ceremony. The biological world was in turmoil because of the regeneration liquid, but Wei Yu was so ill that he couldn't get out of bed, and his consciousness was gradually blurring. Until the last moment of his life, he held Tang Guo's hand tightly and smiled. It was a smile of satisfaction. Guo, I'm leaving." Tang Guo lowered her eyes and held his big hand with both hands. She didn't say anything and didn't smile at him as usual. Guo, I want to see you smile again. It's that kind of smile that's especially flamboyant and a little naughty. I like it so much. Peek. Chapter 280. Tang Guo raised her head, and the corners of her lips curled up slightly as she gave him a wanton smile. Wei Yu was indeed satisfied. His eyes became more and more blurry. Just when he thought that he would fall into darkness, his eyes gradually became clear. After Tang Guo laughed, she lowered her head. The corners of her mouth curved. This was the first time she couldn't accept this kind of life and death parting. Was she sad, or was it this body that was sad? Both were the reasons why she was sad. Wei Yu's eyes had already regained their clarity. He looked at the woman in front of him who had her head buried, and there was a hint of love in his clear eyes. He raised his hand and touched her cheek. It felt so good. He sighed softly in his heart. His steady heart was gradually falling. However, time didn't allow for it. There was helplessness in his eyes. He had dug a hole and he had to finish it even if he cried. Gugwa, see you in the next life. After saying that, he closed his eyes reluctantly and slowly let go of her hand. There was a trace of satisfaction on his lips. When Tangwa heard the words, "See you in the next life," she raised her head abruptly. He had already left. "Tong," he said, he wanted to see me in the next life. Tangwa touched Wei Yu's face. "What a pity, Wei Yu. You might not be able to see me in the next life. You're so good. I'll try my best to remember you for a longer time and not forget you so quickly." Tangwa seemed to have thought of a good idea. "Tong, save the images of this world for me. I'll take a look when I have time. When I'm in a bad mood, I'll watch this world heal." System, host, don't be sad, I can't help it. I'm also giving my heart sincerely. How can I not be sad? I'll forget about it after lying down for a few days in Tianquan. After Wei Yu's funeral, Tang Guo spent some time with family Tang parents and went to the orphanage to adopt an obedient child. She personally taught him for a year and sent him to the family Tang couple. The next day, the servant pushed open Tang Guo's room and found that she had already left. She was holding her and Wei Yu's wedding photo in her hand. Those who saw it couldn't help but cry. The great mathematician finally couldn't bear to part with her beloved husband. The equally great entrepreneur and biologist left with him. The story of the two had been passed down in this world for countless years. Their achievements were regarded as treasures by later generations. Every bit of their love was printed into a book, and it was sold out every time. Their story had never been forgotten. "Dear host, are you all right? Do you want a hangover pill?" The little assistant system said in a flattering tone. The host of the previous world was very happy. He had obtained a lot of energy. That's right, he had leveled up again. He was full of energy. As long as the host lived happily in each world, there would be a lot of energy to absorb after the end. It was really wonderful. His great host was his great patron, his biggest leg. Tangul rubbed her eyebrows. For the time being, she didn't absorb the memories. The original owner drank too much wine and slept on the ground all night. She caught a cold. Her voice was a little hoarse. "Give me one." After taking the sobering pill, her mind cleared up a little. She looked around and saw that the spacious living room was in a mess. There were wine bottles everywhere. There were piles of takeout boxes. She didn't know how many days they had been there. It was summer now, so the whole room was filled with a rancid smell. Looking at her nightgown that reeked of alcohol, she rushed into the bathroom. Peek. Chapter 281. Tangguo washed herself first, then found a clean set of clothes to change into, and quickly tidied up the house. Putting the garbage at the door, she returned to the room and began to accept the plot of this world. This time, her identity was an A-list actress, not the kind with acting skills, but a popular actress. She relied on her beauty and was praised by many people. She was called a vase actress by many people. Her acting skills were not very good, but there were still many people who liked her. The original owner was a very kind girl. Every time she got paid, half of the advertising fees would be donated. Therefore, the public accepted a kind female star who only relied on her face to make a living. However, this was limited to the past. Last month, she was still walking the red carpet and was envied by many female stars. Now she became a white lotus that everyone on the internet cursed. She was a hypocrite who would do anything to climb the ladder. She kicked away her boyfriend and hugged the thigh of an old man. How beautiful her image was in the past, how cruel the people who scolded her on the internet were now. The story started from the man that the original owner liked, the man who was once kicked away by her, the current film emperor Soo-hee. She and Soo-hee were in the same school since childhood. Their family was good. After puberty, she found that she liked Soo-hee. Soo-hee was the young master of the Soo family, and he also secretly loved her senior sister by Wen. There were countless people who liked him. Even if she was the daughter of the family Tang, Soo-hee would not like her. Moreover, the family Tang never liked her to contact the Soo family. She chose to secretly love Soo-hee, and it lasted until high school, when the Soo family had an accident. The Soo family went bankrupt, Father Soo was hospitalized, and the original prosperous family suddenly fell. Soo-hee changed from a rich young master to a poor boy who had to work part-time every day after school. The girls who liked him left him. Only she did not leave Soo-hee. Soo-hee was indeed a very inspirational teenager. In such a difficult situation, he was admitted to the Film and Television Academy he liked. The original owner had known his ambition for a long time and was also admitted. At that time, Soo-hee secretly loved her senior sister by Wen went abroad. Soo-hee also thought that it was impossible for him and by Wen. The original owner, who had been secretly in love with Soo-hee, decided to confess to Soo-hee. Soo-hee agreed. After the sophomore year, the two began to take on roles, most of which were small roles. Because the original owner chose to be with Soo-hee, her family has always opposed it and almost broke off the relationship. Naturally, they would not use resources to help them. Soo-hee was especially talented in acting. If he was given more screen time and lines, he would definitely be very attractive. Many small directors liked Soo-hee. However, every time Soo-hee thought that he was going to be chosen and that he was about to get the role of the third or second male lead, the other party would say that he was not suitable the next day. Once or twice might be a coincidence, but what about 20 or 30 times? Even if someone intercepted him, it couldn't be so coincidental, right? Both of them guessed that someone was targeting Soo-hee. The other party's identity was definitely not someone they could come into contact with. So what if they knew? Relatively speaking, the host's development was not bad. She became an actress to get closer to Soo-hee, so she wasn't interested in acting at first. Seeing Soo-hee fall over and over again, she still couldn't do anything to stop him. She had thought of asking her parents for help, but every time she thought of her parents' hateful gazes towards the Soo family, she had already hurt her parents' hearts once. She didn't want it to happen again. Therefore, she asked her good friend to help her find out who was targeting Soo-hee. Not long after, she found out from her good friend that there was someone targeting Soo-hee. She went to meet that person behind Soo-hee's back and planned to have a talk with him. Vertex. Chapter 282. This person was called Xiao Nye, a famous genius director in the country. When the original host found out that it was him, she was very shocked. Xiao Nye readily met her and didn't deliberately target her. As if he knew her purpose of coming, he told her his conditions before she could speak. Xiao Nye's original words were, "If you follow me, I'll let Soo-hee go." The original host's first reaction was that it was impossible. She loved Soo-hee and she couldn't leave him. Although she knew in her heart that the person Soo-hee liked was still his senior, by Wen. Otherwise, why didn't anything happen between the two of them except holding hands occasionally after they had been dating for 2 years? Xiao Nye didn't force her and only said, "I'll give you 3 days to think about it. If you agree, I can give the resources to Soo-hee." The original host took 3 days to think about it. During this time, she saw Soo-hee's decadent appearance and couldn't bear to see her beloved so sad. Finally, she agreed. She told Soo-hee that they should break up. At that time, Soo-hee was very sensitive and quarreled with her. His words were very unpleasant and she was very sad. She understood Soo-hee's heart and thought that the whole world had betrayed him. She didn't blame him. Just like that, the original host followed Chao Nya. Chao Nya didn't have any requirements for her. On the contrary, he took care of her and gave her a lot of resources. It seemed that he wanted to make her famous. Unfortunately, her ambition wasn't there. Without Chao Nya's interference and with the resources Chao Nya promised, Soo-hee became famous step by step until he won the Best Actor award last year. This year, he was with his goddess, Bai Wenwen. The more glorious Soo-hee was, the more heartbroken the original host was. She gave up the person she loved the most and put everything into it. The person she loved was with someone else. And the other party never knew what she had done. Seeing Soo-hee and Bai Wenwen loving each other, she finally couldn't help quarreling with Chao Nya and scolding him. If it weren't for him, she would be with Soo-hee, who she liked. She didn't know why, but Chao Nya, who was rumored to have a bad temper, didn't say anything about her beating and scolding. When she had vented enough, he said that she could leave and he wouldn't target Soo-hee anymore. Today, it had been more than a month since she left Chao Nya. After leaving Chao Nya, she couldn't help but go to Soo-hee. It would have been better if she hadn't gone. The moment she went, Soo-hee was reminded of the past. Of course, Soo-hee knew that it was Chao Nya who targeted him and stole his girlfriend. Soo-hee also found out that Chao Nya was the one who made the Soo family go bankrupt. What he couldn't accept was that Chao Nya was his half-brother. He couldn't do anything to Chao Nya, but couldn't he take revenge on the original owner? Bai Wenwen, who was beside him, was not a vegetarian. Every time the original owner did something, it would always be seen through by the other party, making him feel embarrassed. Under the combined efforts of Soo and he, the true face of the original owner was finally exposed and became the target of abuse on the internet. Because of this, she locked herself up and drank for a month. If Tangwa didn't wake up at this time, according to the original track, the original owner would have gone to find Soo-hee again today. Soo-hee couldn't bear it any longer and would push the original owner into the abyss step by step. He would let the original owner get poisoned and push her to those fat and greasy men. She would become a slutty flower vase star. After being hurt again and again, 3 years later, on the day of Soo and Bai Wenwen's wedding, the original owner would drive her car and hit the wedding car, intending to die with them. But in the end, only she would die. She would rush directly off the bridge with the car. Nothing would happen to Bai Wenwen's wedding car, but she would be frightened. The Peak. Chapter 283. Due to the special plot, the host's lifespan in this world can be increased by 10 years in the remaining 3 years. In other words, she could stay in this world for a maximum of 13 years. Tangwa flipped through the posts on the internet. Countless abusive words filled the entire internet. Everything was said as if the original host had committed a heinous crime. In fact, Soo-hee's image was too good. His acting skills were good, he was handsome, and he was a very clean and hardworking man. Bai Wenwen also entered the entertainment industry as a top student. Although she was not very popular now, only second or third tier, she was versatile. She often shared her calligraphy, piano, guqin, and flute playing on the internet. In the eyes of the netizens, she was a woman who was light and gentle, worthy of their movie King Soo. Tangguo looked at the bottom of her Weibo. Well, very good. Most of the Weibo was scolding her. She didn't know if the original host had given up on herself. She didn't do public relations and didn't delete the comments. Her loyal fans didn't dare to make a sound. The company had already hidden her, and her agent, Jiao Hong, hadn't contacted her for a long time. Host, what's your plan? The system was a little excited. My ability has improved a lot. If you don't like these comments, I can help you block them all. I can also find them through the internet and expose them all. Tang Guo was surprised for a moment. Tong, where is your moral integrity? No, my current identity is a female celebrity with 50 million fans. If you block all these comments, someone will come to check my water meter soon. Tang Guo said, when the time comes, I will compete with the state apparatus. If I resist, this world will immediately collapse. If it collapses, how can I take revenge? I inherited all the emotions of the original host. Now I'm full of anger. But, host, I see that you are smiling and don't look angry. Your IQ has increased a lot, and you talk a lot more. When did you become angry when you saw me angry? The system didn't say anything. It hurriedly pulled out some videos to watch. It watched as its host laughed and toyed with people to death. Sure enough, when the host was angry, she never looked angry. Instead, she smiled more and more beautifully. It trembled. It absolutely couldn't judge its host's mood by her expression. Then what should we do now? Is there anything I can do for you? Tang Guo was very satisfied with the system's attitude. Let's post it on Weibo first. The system was a little nervous. It didn't think it was as simple as posting on Weibo. She secretly glanced at the countless scolding comments on Weibo. Her host was trying to stir up trouble. Why was he a little excited instead of wanting to stop it? He was really looking forward to it. Tang Guo only sent 3 words, just wait and see. Within a minute of posting on Weibo, she was on the hot search list. When the fans on Weibo saw Tang Guo's post, they were stunned. After those things were exposed, the host didn't post anything on Weibo, nor did she explain anything. It was also because of her negative attitude that the company gave up on her. They naturally wouldn't care about a disobedient celebrity who didn't earn money. Besides, there were so many pieces of evidence about Best Actor Sue's popularity and acting skills. There was no need to offend such a potential best actor for a vase with no background. Vase girl, get out of the entertainment industry. How disgusting. What do you mean by, wait and see? Do you think you can still make a comeback? You're not pretending to be a White Lotus anymore. Vertex. Chapter 284. Tang Guo didn't care about the curses on the internet. Instead, her die-hard fans seemed to have the courage to continue supporting their idol because of her. Guogua, I believe in you. Our Guogua is a kind person. I've always liked her and I believe in her. No matter what, Guogua, I'll always support you. You're so good. They're just jealous of you. Tang Guo glanced at the comments and smiled. She picked out a few comments from her die-hard fans and replied, thank you. Wait for me. Her die-hard fans almost cried when they saw her reply. They had waited for a month and their goddess was finally willing to stand up. In the past month, they had always thought that everything was real and that Tang Guo didn't say anything because she didn't dare to. But they also thought that the kind Guoguo wasn't that kind of person. This short Weibo post, as well as those few comments and replies, was the courage they had to continue supporting the company. Host, do you need to clarify those posts that slandered you? The system was now holding its breath. It finally had a chance to be useful, but the host didn't seem to be in a hurry. No need. Let them scold me for a while. She smiled. Slandering is still slandering. It's very useful for what I'm going to do next. Of course, my main goal is to see them get slapped in the face in the future. I want to see them turn red in the face and do something desperate. When everyone thinks that I'm the kind of person described on the internet and everyone is scolding me, they won't be able to take it if I provide evidence to clarify things. But that's not all. They've always thought that the clean and beautiful male gods and goddesses have done all kinds of shameful and messy things behind their backs. I don't know if they can take it. The system trembled. It couldn't take it. It definitely couldn't take it. TSK. When the host is bad, no one can compare to her. Tong, I'll give you a task now. Find out how many people are slandering me and find out who's behind them. Also, Tanghua smiled meaningfully. Dig out their history since their debut. I'll ask you for it when I need it. No problem. Great host, leave it to me. As long as there's internet, it's my world. The system said excitedly. Tanghua pursed her lips. Very good. Keep an eye on those people. If there are any shocking videos, record them. Understood. That's pretty good, boss. I have to say that you're a very useful system now. I don't even need to personally install a listening device to hack their network when it comes to things like monitoring and secretly taking pictures. Tanghua was sincerely praising her. What should I do if I'm a little shy? This is the first time the host has praised me like this. Then, Tanghua called her agent, Jiao Hong. Jiao Hong's voice was a little cold. The company has already discussed it. I'm no longer your agent. Your agent should be contacting you soon. It's not that I want to criticize you. At the same time, Tanghua saw a new call coming in. She immediately hung up the phone with Jiao Hong and picked up the strange call. Since she was no longer her manager, there was no need for her to waste her breath. Jiao Hong, hello. The person on the other end paused for a few seconds before replying, hello, is this Tanghua? Yes. I'm your new agent. Are you free now? Perhaps she wanted to say, are you okay? Yes. Peek. Chapter 285. Tanghua opened the door. She was surprised that her new manager was only a 20-year-old girl, 2 years younger than her. The girl had a round face and a pair of beautiful eyes. Guogua, you seem to be in good shape. Zhu Yi was also surprised. She had thought that she would see a very dispirited woman. She didn't expect the woman in front of her to be so beautiful without makeup. Oh my God, especially that almost no pores could be seen. Her skin was so fair and delicate that it made people go crazy with jealousy. Tanghua invited her in. Zhu Yi first introduced herself and then said apologetically, the company, I know. Tanghua interrupted her. You can make the arrangements. I need to act, so I won't take any commercials. It would be best if there was a reality show. I don't want a normal reality show with a script. I like something more challenging. For example, survival in the wild, outdoor survival, dancing with wild animals, experiencing life in the countryside. Tanghua calmly explained her thoughts. I believe they would be very willing to hire someone like me. For the sake of ratings, even if she was a blacklisted celebrity, many shows would be willing to hire her. Zhu Yi was obviously stunned. You want to participate in a reality show? She held a few scripts in her hands. Actually, I have prepared a script for you. Do you want to take a look first? Sure. Acting and participating in a reality show don't conflict. You just have to arrange the time. Zhu Yi stuttered. But, wouldn't it be too rushed? Do you want to rest for a while? She looked at the woman in high spirits in front of her and her heart thumped. She didn't expect Guogua to be so aggressive and flirt with her. From the first glance, she could tell that the words on the internet were definitely not true. How could Guogua, who was so aggressive, do such things? Let me take a look at the scripts. Zhu Yi looked at the smiling woman and quickly handed the scripts over. There were a total of 3 scripts. None of them were big productions. She had carefully selected them. They weren't the female leads either. They were the second or third female leads. However, the directors of these small productions had a good reputation. They used actors based on their acting skills and not their character. She also knew that Tangua's acting skills were not very good, but it was still early. She could practice for a while before going for the audition. The first one was in the Republic of China genre. Zhu Yi chose the role of the third female lead, a patriotic woman who was born in troubled times. In the end, in order to save a high-level talent, she chose to perish together with the enemy. There weren't many scenes, but if played well, it could leave a deep impression. The second one was an ancient palace drama. It was still the third female lead. The character was a demoness who brought disaster to the country, which suited Tangua's appearance very well. She thought that this character was not bad and that Tangua would be easier to grasp. The third was a school script. This was the script that she was least optimistic about. It was a second female lead who was sisters with the first female lead. The third one. Tangua browsed very quickly. The first one was too ordinary, the second one was not challenging, and the third one. She lowered her head and smiled. She liked it very much. It reminded her of many wonderful memories. Although she was only going to act as the second female lead and a second female lead who was going to wreak havoc, this wasn't important. Wei Yu wasn't in this story, so she could be a bad woman in peace. The first female lead was the younger sister. Her character was set up as a silly and sweet girl. The second female lead was the older sister. She was an all-round genius. This suited her character very well. She was also very all-round. System, then I'll let you know when the audition is. Guogua, get ready. This role isn't decided directly. The director has to personally ask. Peak. Chapter 286. Guogua, do you need to rest for a while? Zhu Yi was a little worried because she hadn't seen Tangua. She had already taken over Tangua for a week and accompanied her to all kinds of training, especially in terms of fitness. Tangua was so hard-working that it made one's hair stand on end. She worked out in the morning, performed skills classes in the afternoon, and studied scripts and watched classic TV series and movies at night. She only slept for 6 hours a day and even communicated with her in English in the morning. Tangua's fluency and pronunciation in English shocked her. She wasn't a vase actress. She was an old monster in the mountains. Zhu Yi had been abroad for a few years, and her pronunciation was not as good as Tangua's. Zhu Yi's heart pounded. Her goddess was so amazing. It was a lot of pressure to be a fan. Yes, she was Tangua's little fan, the kind that was a secret fan. Just then, Tangua's phone rang. She looked at the caller ID, Villain Xiao, and shivered. What did that mean? Guogua, phone. Answer it. Zhu Yi stuck out her tongue and picked up the phone. A deep voice sounded. How are you? Mr. Xiao, right? Guogua is busy. I'm her new manager. Why are you looking for Guogua? Oh. If she needs help, ask her to come to me. The man's voice was still very deep. Zhu Yi stuttered. Could this be Guogua's lover? Tangua walked over and took the phone. She looked at the caller ID and smiled. Why did you think of me? How have you been? Pretty good. I've taken a fancy to a new role. I'll be going for an audition in a few days. I'm also planning to participate in a reality show. Tangua smiled. My reputation is ruined. I'm planning to go for the acting route. The man heard her light and happy voice and was obviously in a good mood. Thinking of all the slanderous posts on the internet, she didn't care. I can help you clear your name. Tangwa sneered. You want to help me clear my name? For what purpose? Are you feeling guilty after using me? Sorry. No need. Tangwa smiled. Don't worry, Xiao Nia. You will be my target for revenge. Just you wait and see. Xiao Nia's originally gloomy mood became much better because of her words. She said she wanted to take revenge on him. That's right, he was the one who pushed her into the abyss and snatched her away from the person she loved the most. He had never been soft-hearted to his enemies, but he didn't expect that his heart would soften for once when it came to her. He couldn't bear to continue taking revenge. Looking at her stubborn look, he was reminded of his mother. She was also a flamboyant and beautiful woman. She was confident, arrogant, and never cared about being tainted by other people's feelings. She was also very stubborn. On the second day after he was born, his mother took him away without hesitation. As a result, her body was weak and she passed away a few years later. Perhaps it was Tangwa's stubbornness that made him miss his mother and soften his heart. After Tangwa hung up the phone, Zhu Yi asked carefully, "Who is this villain Xiao?" "Xiao Nia." "Who is Xiao Nia?" Zhu Yi's eyes suddenly widened. "Wait, you mean Xiao Nia? The weird director who scolds people for no reason and is very picky. He can scold 10 actors away in one movie." Tangwa nodded indifferently. "That's him. Zhu Yi." Oh my god, her goddess was having an affair with Xiao Nia and she was still so calm. At the top. Chapter 287. Guogua, are you confident? Zhu Yi was very nervous. Today was the day of the audition. She looked at Tangwa, who was dressed in a school uniform, in disbelief. She had changed from a nation-destroying vixen to a beautiful female top student. She looked at the book in Tangwa's hand. She thought it was a prop, but she didn't expect it to be a mathematical Olympiad book. Tangwa's explanation was, as a top student, how can I not do mathematical Olympiad? Okay, she couldn't refute. But, it's fine if you're pretending, but why are you doing mathematical Olympiad questions here? Yes, they were in the middle. There were more than 20 people here for the audition. Tangwa thought it was still early. She had just bought this mathematical Olympiad book, so she planned to do the questions to pass the time. Zhu Yi, goddess, mathematical Olympiad wasn't that easy to do. Fortunately, Tangwa's current image was very different from her image in the public eye. So many people didn't recognize that the woman in front of them who was writing and drawing was the popular actress Tangwa. She's too stiff. I need a genius high school second female lead, not a nerd wearing old-fashioned black-rimmed glasses. Shirtsong rubbed her forehead. I'm going to film a school drama. The timeline is from the 3rd year of high school to university. How can a nerd who studies all the time have a conflict with the female lead? The actress's eyes were red. She apologized, bowed, and ran out. If you continue like this, you'll become the second Xiao Nia. Shirtsong was speechless. I don't want to be like this. It's too difficult to find an actress who suits me. None of the 9 actresses before me could figure out my image. They're too low. Okay, let's look at the next one. There are more than 20 second female leads here today. Maybe the next one will be good, Liang Chao said. I hope so. Next, Tangwa. Tangwa stood up. She was holding her mathematical Olympiad practice questions. Zhu Yi made an Amitabha gesture from behind, asking for Buddha's blessing. Shirtsong didn't care about it at first. She even took a sip of water when the door was pushed open. So you're here. The girl's clear and melodious voice rang out, causing Shirtsong to be stunned for a moment. She raised her head in surprise. That glance made Shirt Song lock her gaze on her. She was confident and arrogant. She was wearing an ordinary school uniform, but it looked like a high-end custom-made dress on her. Her background was that of a rich family's daughter, so this kind of temperament was completely suitable. I heard that you're also going to participate in the mathematical Olympiad competition. The girl continued to move forward and flipped through the mathematical Olympiad practice questions in her hand as if she was in a classroom. She chose to sit on the chair and spread the practice questions flat on the desk. She tilted her head and revealed a clean and bright smile. I plan to go too. Why can't I participate? Chin Mo, do you look down on me so much? Clearly, no one was rehearsing her lines with her, but she had mastered it so well that it didn't seem like she was talking to herself at all. It only made the audience feel that there was indeed someone talking to her, but they couldn't hear it. Strange, it was just too strange. Yes, I like you. Can't I like you? Shirt Song took a deep breath. This is another scene. He clearly saw the change in Tangwa's expression. The bitterness under that smile shocked him. At the same time, he was extremely excited. This was what he wanted. Peak. Chapter 288. So, she's the one you like. She didn't go crazy, nor did she yell. She just said softly, what's so attractive about her? She looked helpless and pitiful. Shirt Song suppressed her pounding heart and said, this is the third scene. Crying. Who are you crying for? Tangwa frowned and snorted arrogantly. I really don't understand why Chin Mo likes a troublemaker like you. Shut up, no matter how painful it is, you have to endure it. Why are you crying? If you keep crying, the beasts will be attracted to you and we will all die. I don't want to die. Shirt Song stood up and looked at Tangwa excitedly. This was an outdoor activity in the script. Because of the female lead's carelessness, the two of them got lost in the forest and were chased by a tiger. In the end, the supporting female lead used her amazing IQ and skills to dodge the tiger's attack. The two of them climbed up a tree. The female lead fell and couldn't help but cry when she thought of the situation. She was scolded by the supporting female lead. Tangwa's impatient expression disappeared and she greeted Shirt Song with a smile. Director Shi. You're Tangwa. Liang Chao, who was watching from the side, was in disbelief. He was the male lead of this school drama. You're Tangwa. If he hadn't watched this scene at the beginning and knew it was Tangwa, he wouldn't have watched it. But after watching the scene and realizing it was Tangwa, the situation was different. Shirt Song decided. This role belongs to you. Okay. Tangwa smiled and nodded. Thank you Director Shi for giving me this opportunity. Before that incident, Tangwa's reputation was very good. Director Shi didn't believe the rumors, and now that he saw Tangwa, he didn't believe it even more. An actress with such excellent acting skills was very capable. What he couldn't figure out was why she didn't show off her acting skills and chose to be a vase actress. She took on movies that said I'm the prettiest in the world. Miss Tang, my name is Liang Chao. Hello. Liang Chao came up to her, his handsome face full of curiosity. Miss Tang, you're really different from the rumors. Shirt Song wanted to throw Liang Chao out, afraid that he would scare away her second female lead. Tangwa smiled. Hello, Mr. Liang. You'll soon realize that I'm different every day. Liang Chao laughed awkwardly. Miss Tang is really humorous and interesting. I believe that working with Miss Tang will be a very happy thing. Her acting skills were so good that he wanted to act with her immediately. Is Miss Liang holding the mathematical Olympiad? Yeah, I bought it on the way. Liang Chao's heart itched. He wanted to borrow it to take a look, but Shirtsong hurriedly stopped him. She told Tanggua to open a notice, and Tanggua left. I don't have to worry about who the second female lead will be anymore, Liang Chao said with satisfaction. Uncle, I promise that your drama will be a hit. Get lost. Which of my movies isn't popular? Guagua, there will be a wilderness survival reality show in a few months. Zhu Yi glanced at Tanggua. I took a look at your schedule. It will be right after your school drama. It will take about 2 months to film. Zhu Yi was still dreaming that Tanggua would get the role of the second female lead. Little Yi, help me take it. Really? Are you sure? Very sure. Zhu Yi sighed. She knew that there was nothing she could do. Right then, her phone rang. That's too much. Her facial expression changed when she picked up the call. What's wrong? The peak. Chapter 289. Director Shi just called and said that the investor of the school drama wants the role of the second female lead. Tanggua wasn't surprised. At the same time, she knew who wanted the role, because this person seemed to know that the drama would be popular. She still asked, who is it? Wei Chuan. Zhu Yi's face didn't look good. This person isn't easy to offend. Otherwise, Director Shi wouldn't have called me directly to apologize. If I find out who wants to steal the role, I'll scold them to death. Tanggua's mouth curled up. It's Bai Wenwen. What? Zhu Yi said in disbelief. Her. Although she has some talent, does she have any acting skills? Tanggua didn't speak. Her eyes were fixed on the current affairs news on TV. It reported that a woman's body was found in the woods on the outskirts of the city last night. Because that place was a surveillance blind spot, there was no way to capture who killed the woman. This person not only killed the woman, but also dragged her into the woods, intending to deceive everyone. However, he didn't expect that there were many old people walking dogs in the woods in the morning. Zhu Yi also saw it and scolded angrily. This is really crazy. Maybe the girl didn't die, but was dragged to death. Guagua, do you want to look at the other 2 scripts? No. Tanggua had no interest in looking at other scripts. I prefer the previous one. Help me sign up for the wilderness survival reality show first. That's also very interesting. Zhu Yi's mouth twitched. Was it very interesting? Okay, I'll listen to you. I'll go first. Call me if you need anything. She clenched her fist. She must not disappoint her goddess. Tongzi, come out and work. Here, host. What do you want to do now? Play the complete plot for me, especially the part about the school drama. Okay, host. Although she didn't know what the host wanted to do, she just did as she was told. After watching it, Tanggua narrowed her eyes. The second female lead was originally snatched by Bai Wenwen. I still remember that. The strange thing is that Liang Chao was also replaced by another second-tier male star. Show me the part of the hidden plot. What happened to Liang Chao? Okay, host. Watching the hidden plot was no pressure at all. Dead? Tanggua looked at the plot. Liang Chao's death was very strange. It seemed that he had rushed into the road and was hit by a car. There were so many cars at that time that his body was almost crushed. It was somewhat unbelievable. She looked at the time and was stunned. Was it Liang Chao's death today at 3:30 p.m.? Dear host, there are many strange things in this world. The system thought to itself, that's good. The stranger it is, the better. A strange world won't collapse easily. Dial Liang Chao's number for me and monitor him at the same time. The system did as it was told. She was more and more satisfied with the current system. Hello. Liang Chao was puzzled. This was his private number and not many people knew it. He had never seen this number before, so he picked it up out of curiosity. Me. Liang Chao was stunned for a moment before he remembered the owner of the voice. Tang. Miss Tang. He couldn't believe that Tang Guo had taken the initiative to call him. There are some things that I would like to consult Mr. Liang about. Is it convenient for me to look for you? Liang Chao's heart skipped a beat. He wanted to refuse, as the other party's reputation was not good, but for some reason, he thought of that day and said, no problem. Vertex. Chapter 290. For some reason, he told Tang Guo the address. After hanging up the phone, he realized why he had agreed. Thus, Liang Chao became nervous in the house. He didn't realize that there was a shadow outside the window, trying to come in. Tang Guo put on a disguise and walked out of the apartment. She hurried to the street and was about to hail a car. Suddenly, a car stopped in front of her and the man inside poked his head out. Where are you going? The man was wearing a black casual outfit and looked gloomy. He had a pair of deep eyes and a head of messy hair that was much longer than the average person. He looked unruly. He was holding a cigarette between his fingers. When he saw Tang Guo, he instinctively put it out and threw it into the ashtray. To Liang Chao's house. Tang Guo didn't stand on ceremony and got into the back seat. Driver, please drive faster. I'm in a hurry. Liang Chao. The man narrowed his eyes. You're with Liang Chao. He didn't believe it. Tang Guo smiled faintly. Take a guess. Xiao Nie's gloomy eyes were smiling. You're being naughty. He found Liang Chao's address and drove there as she wished. Suddenly, he felt a pair of hands around his neck. The woman's hands were soft and warm and he almost couldn't hold the steering wheel. He didn't even turn his head. Be good and let go. I'm driving. What if I don't let go? Tang Guo leaned over his neck and blew. If I mess around now, I guarantee that there will be a car accident here. You're so evil. I'll choose to die with you. Xiao Nie, what do you think of the ending? The strange voice entered his ears, but it didn't make Xiao Nie panic at all. He held the steering wheel firmly and said in a low voice, how are you going to mess around? That sentence seemed to be saying, mess around for me to see. Host, are you flirting with Xiao Nie? I think Xiao Nie likes you. I saw some of his records. Basically, all the women who know him have been scolded by him. Many of them cried because of his scolding. Host, do you think he's in love with you? He didn't doubt the host's charm. Tang Guo said, no, he doesn't love me. Why? Humans are so complicated. If you don't love them, why do you indulge them so much? He's just looking at another person through me. Did he see what I've marked for him? Villain Xiao is not a soft-hearted person. He only treated me differently because I reminded him of someone very important to him. Usually, I would use a word to describe this kind of person. What? Despicable bastard. However, I do have some interest in him. I plan to flirt with him and take my revenge at the same time. This world only has 13 years. If I don't do something, it would be a waste of time. Is that so? Why was he still a little confused? Along the way, Tang Guo put her hand on Xiao Nie's neck. Xiao Nie could see her smiling face from the rearview mirror. Her face was still cold and she drove seriously. She drove more steadily than ordinary people. When they arrived at Liang Chao's apartment, before Tang Guo let go of him, she whispered in his ear, I couldn't tell that you were an experienced driver. This car is really stable. Driver, is there a fee? Xiao Nia suddenly grabbed her wrist and turned around to pinch her chin, pulling her closer to him. What do you want to do? Will you help me with whatever I want to do? Tanggua asked back. Xiao Nia didn't think and answered, of course. I want to move back. Will you agree? This time, Xiao Nia hesitated. Are you trying to get back together or are you trying to develop your career after losing your love? Peak. Chapter 291. Both, Tanggua said with a smile. Xiao Nia didn't hesitate and said, okay, come back. He didn't want her to leave. It was too dangerous outside. She could live freely under his wings. Xiao Nia, do you like me? Xiao Nia didn't answer. Tanggua continued, since you don't like me, why do you want me to ride on your coattails? Xiao Nia, I don't think you can. Xiao Nia, I'm so beautiful. You never had any thoughts about me in the years we were together. So it's because you can't. Shut up. Xiao Nia, do you like me or not? Xiao Nia pursed his lips. No. Hey, then why are you helping me? I don't need a reason. Tanggua didn't listen. She kissed Xiao Nia on the cheek when he wasn't paying attention. Young man, you look at me strangely sometimes. It's like a child looking at his mother. Tanggua was a little surprised. You want to be my son? Get out. Xiao Nia couldn't stand this woman who had changed so much. He got out of the car and pulled her out. Then he quickly got into the car and drove away. He saw the woman's smug look through the rearview mirror. His face darkened and he sped up. Liang Chao had been waiting nervously in the house. When he heard the knock on the door, he became even more nervous. He saw a strange woman through the peephole. It's me. Hearing the familiar voice, he was surprised and quickly opened the door. Are you Miss Tang? Yes. Xiao Nia recognized her at a glance. She thought there was something wrong with her mask. Seeing Liang Chao's surprised eyes, she thought there was nothing wrong. Xiao Nia. He should be a demon. Liang Chao hurriedly let her in. He didn't know what to do. Why did he agree? Well. Miss Tang, what's the matter? I'm here to save you. Tanggua said seriously. If I didn't come today, you would have died in the afternoon. You died quite miserably. Your body was crushed and your bones and flesh were broken into several pieces. Liang Chao wasn't a main character. He was just a cannon fodder whose name was revealed. His lifeline could be changed. Liang Chao's expression changed. He was a little angry. Miss Tang, it's better if you don't make such a joke. Just wait and see. Hearing this familiar sentence, Liang Chao's mouth twitched. Because of this woman's Weibo post, just wait and see, there was an additional term on the internet. You don't have to worry about me. I'll just sit here for a while. Liang Chao looked at Tanggua's unfamiliar face and asked hesitantly, is this makeup or a disguise? Disguise, mask. Liang Chao nodded. He had seen human skin masks before, but none of them were so realistic. She was a little curious about where Tanggua had gotten it. Liang Chao ordered takeout in the afternoon. Today was his rare break. He should have been playing games. But there was a woman in the house who said that he was going to die a horrible death today. He didn't dare to do anything and just watched TV in the living room. At 3:10 in the afternoon, Tanggua stood up. She took out a handful of yellow talismans from her delicate bag. When she covered the entire living room with talismans, Liang Chao was stunned. Miss Tang. He didn't believe in Taoism or Buddhism. He was an atheist. He wanted to say something, but when he saw the look in Tanggua's eyes, he swallowed his words. Could it be that Tanghua, who looked normal on the surface, was actually suppressed and now she was going to explode? At this moment, Liang Chao received a phone call. Why? I think Miss Tang is very good. Miss Tang, I'm going to look for uncle. If you don't want to play the second female lead, I won't do it either. With that said, he rushed out. Tanghua grabbed his shoulder tightly and he couldn't move an inch. Peak. Chapter 292. Let go of me. Liang Chao glared at Tanghua with bloodshot eyes as if he had lost his mind. He tried to push Tanghua away. I'm going to seek justice for you. Woman, why are you stopping me? Host, this is a little scary. Fortunately, he went out because of Shi Tsong's call. Last time, it was probably because the second female lead was replaced. However, the second female lead was not her, but another actress with good acting skills. This time, with her around, she would not let Liang Chao die for no reason. However, she did not expect to take on a drama by accident and save Liang Chao's life. She could not control the life of the main storyline characters, but could she not save 2 more cannon fodder? I didn't expect the great host to take the initiative to do good. Tanghua smiled. Tongzi, you're talking as if I've never done a good deed. My values are very upright. Whatever the great host says is right. I agree. The system laughed in its heart. The host had always been bothered by the fact that she could not control the length of her life. Now that she finally saw a cannon fodder that she liked, she would definitely help. Liang Chao was still glaring at Tanghua angrily as if he was looking at an enemy. In reality, that was not what he was thinking. He felt that something was making him unable to control himself. There was a voice in his heart telling him to go out. As long as he opened the door and rushed out, he would be able to break everything. At this moment, Tanghua withdrew her hand. Liang Chao felt as if he had been saved. He rushed to the door and grabbed the door handle, intending to open it. Ah! A sharp scream was heard. Liang Chao's body stiffened for a moment. His face turned pale and he broke out in a cold sweat. He was about to open the door, but his mind suddenly became clear. He had no intention of opening the door. Did he hear a scream just now? No, why did he rush out in such a hurry? Liang Chao felt that it was inconceivable that he had quarreled with Tanghua just now. He quickly turned around to look at Tanghua's reaction. Tanghua was standing not far behind him. She had a faint smile on her face, which made his heart turn cold. No matter how stupid he was, he knew that something was wrong. What's going on? Liang Chaoyang opened the door and asked with a stutter. Previously, he had felt that the house was gloomy, as if it was shrouded by something. Now, he didn't feel that way. Do you still want to go out? Tanghua smiled. I won't stop you this time. Liang Chao did not go out. Instead, he walked back and stared at Tanghua. Miss Tang, was what you said just now true? Can you tell me why? This woman is so strange. His actions today were incomprehensible. However, he had a very special feeling just now. That feeling was that he had survived a life and death situation. Tanghua didn't waste any time. She took out a talisman from her bag, poured some water on it, and stuck it on the girl's forehead. She then pointed to a corner of the room for him to see. Liang Chao looked at the corner of the living room and immediately took 2 steps back in fright. It was a woman covered in blood. When she saw him looking at her, she gave him a ferocious and resentful look. She. Liang Chao stuttered. He tore off the talisman and couldn't see it anymore. He stuck it on and saw the woman again. His face was completely red. She's a ghost. Tangua nodded and said, "Yes, a female ghost. She seems to hate me, but I don't know her. I, Liang Chao, have never bullied girls." The Peak. Chapter 293. You'll have to ask her. Tangua smiled and said to the female ghost in the corner, "Come here and talk." The female ghost was very afraid of Tangua and also very resentful. If it weren't for this woman, she would have already taken revenge. But she was afraid of Tangua, so she carefully moved over. "Sit down." The female ghost silently found a seat and sat down, looking at Tangua with some confusion. The other party's talisman was very powerful, and it was easy for her to kill her. She didn't understand what Tangua meant. "Are you the woman who was hit and thrown away yesterday?" Tangua said straightforwardly. "Ha!" The female ghost was surprised. "How do you know?" "I saw the news this morning." In fact, she didn't connect with this at first. If Bai Wenwen didn't stop her, she might not remember Liang Chao. If she couldn't remember him, he would still die. The crew would change the male lead, and it would have no effect on her. However, Bai Wenwen asked Wei Chuan to help her, which reminded her of Liang Chao's death. She was a little curious. After walking through the plot, she decided to save Liang Chao, the little cannon fodder. She loved saving the little cannon fodder that she found pleasing to the eye. The little cannon fodder Liang Chao was now staring at the female ghost. "I really don't know you." The female ghost suddenly became ferocious. "You don't know me. You hit me with your car yesterday. I didn't have to die, but you threw me into the woods. I struggled for 5 hours before I died. You also threw my bag somewhere else. I couldn't ask for help. It's all your fault. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have died. Whoa whoa. I still have a family. My parents are very sad. I'm going to get married soon, and the wedding date has been set. My boyfriend and I have struggled in this city for 8 years. Finally, we have a house. Everything is going well. Just because you are afraid of taking responsibility, you killed me." Although the female ghost looked ferocious, she was a little pitiful. Liang Chao was a little angry, but when he heard what she said, he sympathized with her. "Well, I didn't drive yesterday," Liang Chao said seriously. "I went to a cocktail party yesterday and got drunk. I have been resting in the hotel and came back this morning." The female ghost was stunned for a moment. She didn't quite believe him. "You can check. Aren't you a ghost? By the way, I have a dashcam. Let me show you." He glanced at Tangua, and Tangua said to the female ghost, "Follow me if you want to find the real murderer." The female ghost thought of Tangua's power and nodded, but Tangua still stuck a talisman on her body. The female ghost immediately felt a kind of restraint. Liang Chao took them to the parking lot and took out the dashcam. Sure enough, there was nothing. After the female ghost got into the car, she suddenly felt confused. I might have made a mistake." The female ghost lowered her head. Chapter 294. She was a newborn ghost and didn't have any abilities at all. Liang Chao was a man full of vigor and vitality. She couldn't even get close to him. However, when Liang Chao received a phone call and became emotionally unstable, she knew that her chance had come. She pounced on Liang Chao and confused him into going out. She was killed by a car, so she wanted her enemy to be killed by a car. However, she didn't succeed, but she was glad that she didn't succeed. When Liang Chao heard a female ghost apologizing to him, he felt very complicated. He almost died. If Tangua hadn't come in time. "Oh right, Tangua." He looked at Tangua with a burning gaze. Are you the successor of Mao Shan sect? Tanghua? No. At this moment, Tanggua's phone rang. It was Xiao Nia. When are you moving in? Are you coming to pick me up? After a moment of silence, he said, no. Tanghua sneered and hung up the phone. Xiao Nia listened to the busy tone and his gloomy eyes became a little more lively. This woman had changed. Whether she had changed or not, as long as she stuck to her stubbornness, he would protect her. The truth is out. I should go. Well, thank you, Tanghua, Liang Chao said very seriously. If it weren't for me today, I might have really died. I'll discuss it with my uncle again. If not, I'll go home and ask my father to invest in this TV series. Anyway, I can't cooperate with Bai Wenwen. He was very satisfied with Tanghua as the second female lead. Now that she was his savior, he would definitely protect her role in the most difficult time. Tanghua found that Liang Chao was looking at her with admiration, as if he was looking at a master. She opened the door and was about to leave when she suddenly felt the female ghost floating in front of her. She said timidly, Can I follow you? Liang Chao breathed a sigh of relief. Very good, the female ghost didn't want to follow him. You're so powerful. You can definitely help me find the murderer, right? Tanghua sneered. Why should I help you? The female ghost was confused. Then why are you helping him? Aren't you being kind? He's in the same crew as me, and he's playing the male lead. At least I know him. The female ghost felt a bit sad and said, Then I can follow you without your help. Is that all right? Just as Tanghua was about to refuse, she suddenly remembered something. The corners of her mouth curled up. Okay, you can follow me. If there's a chance, I can help you find the murderer, but... She narrowed her eyes. You have to listen to me. The female ghost shivered. She felt that the woman in front of her was very scary, but, other than following this powerful woman, she didn't know what else to do, so she agreed. Tanghua found a jade pendant in the system space and let the female ghost enter it. After entering the jade pendant, the female ghost thought that it had chosen the right person. Chapter 295. The filming location was a noble high school in the city. The background of the script was also a story about a group of rich second-generation heirs. That's right, it wasn't a prince and Cinderella. This was a story about a princess and a prince. It was more popular in this world to match up. Shirtsong didn't officially announce the names of the male and female leads and supporting actors. Outsiders didn't know that Tanghua would be the second female lead in High School Romance. Shirtsong thought about Tanghua's current situation and decided to wait until the filming was over before announcing it. By then, many people would be curious. Even if they didn't like Tanghua, they would come to take a look. He believed in his own judgment. As long as Tanghua maintained the standard of the audition, she would definitely be popular. Liang Chao had been waiting for Tanghua since early in the morning. When he saw her, he immediately stood up. Xiaogua, come quickly. Shirtsong was speechless. When did they become so familiar? You can stay in my dressing room. I asked someone to separate the room with curtains. You can stay inside and I'll stay outside. Liang Chao was very enthusiastic. When he saw that Tanghua only brought Zhu Yi, he knew that the company didn't care about her at all. More than a month ago, because of the scandal, Tanghua didn't clarify in time. The company almost gave up on her and naturally wouldn't help her. Countless film and advertisement contracts were cancelled. Some companies that endorsed products even asked Tanghua to compensate for the damage to her image. This was the industry. Because her image was damaged, many commercials, TV dramas, and even movies replaced her halfway through filming. The original owner gave up on herself and didn't defend herself at all. She lost half of her fortune. Now that the crew saw Tang Guo appear, although Shirtsong had already informed them, no one was willing to get involved with her. Getting involved with a notorious actress wouldn't end well. Moreover, they were even more unwilling to get involved with someone with no morals. Seeing that Liang Chao was so enthusiastic about Tang Guo, their gazes became subtle. Everyone said that Tang Guo was a vase actress. Did she get him too? Thinking of this, they thought that it was very possible. Tang Guo felt these subtle gazes and smiled. When she came to the dressing room, she said, "It's not good for you to get involved with me." "What are you talking about? You're my savior." Reputation. In this industry, the truth is mixed with the lies. Do those people outside think they're clean? Liang Chao sneered. I, Liang Chao, have always been an actor. Even if I can't act, I can just go back and inherit the family business. Although he was acting in a school drama this time, it was his uncle who invited him. Besides, he was interested in the story. He had always acted whatever he wanted, and no one could stop him. His image was also very casual. He was a little excited about suddenly trying out an idol drama. This script was different from the previous ones. The most outstanding role in this script was actually the second female lead. The actors who auditioned for the role had only gotten a few scenes and not all of them, so they didn't know the importance of the second female lead. Only after passing the audition would she be able to get a summary of the entire storyline. Only then would she understand the importance of the second female lead. This was also why Liang Chao favored the second female lead so much. Once the second female lead failed, the movie would be doomed. Although he could act in anything, he didn't want his TV shows to have a bad reputation. Wow, Best Actor Su is here. Bai Wenwen is so lucky. Best Actor Su actually sent her here personally. That person is still inside. Someone whispered, "There's a show to watch." Peek. Chapter 296. Liang Chao heard the sound outside and observed Tang Guo's expression. She was expressionless, as if she didn't care. "Do you want to go out and take a look?" He didn't have a good impression of that Bai Wenwen. Her appearance was not suitable for the second female lead's image. Tang Guo had the same idea. The two went out at the same time and met Su He and Bai Wenwen's eyes. Su He's expression was a bit gloomy. Bai Wenwen pulled him from the side, maintaining a light smile on her face. Tang Guo stared at Bai Wenwen and frowned slightly. Tongzi, scan. Okay, host. Scan completed, it's an ordinary person. At this moment, a voice sounded. Found a target to attack, Liang Chao, do you want to attack? Yes. Bai Wenwen silently said in her heart, looking at Liang Chao's eyes softened a bit, there are so many excellent men in this world, all of them are good, but unfortunately, I will only be with Su He 875, how much is Liang Chao's favorability value? Liang Chao's current favorability value is -50. Host, please continue to work hard and attack the target mission as soon as possible to obtain a big gift package reward. Bai Wenwen's eyes were strange, are you right? How can it be negative? I didn't know Liang Chao before, and I have no hatred with him. Is there some plot that I don't know? What is the relationship between Liang Chao and the original host? Host, please continue to work hard and attack the target mission. Bai Wenwen was a bit angry. Negative, this was the lowest favorability value she had ever received since she attacked that man. I didn't expect Liang Chao to take on such a drama. Bai Wenwen showed a shallow smile to Liang Chao, in the future, please take care of me, Liang Chao. Bai Wenwen bowed slightly, looking very humble, and extended a friendly hand to Liang Chao. Liang Chao looked and found that other people were also looking. As a man, he politely shook her hand, but he was angry in his heart and said indifferently, "I can't compare to Miss Bai." Ding! Liang Chao's favorability value -30, current favorability value -80. Bai Wenwen's face immediately darkened. Wasn't it just a handshake? Did he want to reduce her favorability by 30 points? Was this Liang Chao a lunatic? The people around looked at Bai Wenwen with some schadenfreude. They didn't expect that Bai Wenwen would snatch the role of the heroine. In short, compared with Tang Guo, they thought that Bai Wenwen was more annoying. An actress who couldn't even be considered a B-list actress was the female lead as soon as she arrived. Although the production cost of this drama was small, Shi Tsong was one of the few directors who had a good reputation. He had always been one to watch the show and not the person. Basically, he would always have a chance. Previously, when Bai Wenwen wanted to snatch the role of the second female lead, Shi Tsong did not directly agree. He only said that he would consider it. In fact, what he was considering was how to let Tang Guo continue to play the second female lead. In the end, Liang Chao came looking for him and said that if Tang Guo did not want to act in the movie, he would not act in it either. He even said that if he was really that short of money, he could consider asking his family to invest in the movie. Shi Tsong quickly agreed, but Wei Chuan was not a good person. He also described that the role of the second female lead was not suitable for a gentle and fairy-like person like Bai Wenwen. The second female lead was an overbearing flower, which did not conform to the character setting. Wei Chuan asked him for information about other roles and finally found that the first female lead was kind and gentle. Wasn't that the Bai Wenwen in his heart? This time, Shi Tsong didn't think so much. This drama was mainly about the second female lead, so he agreed. As for the first female lead, he was not very satisfied with it. It was put in by another investor, so he let Wei Chuan deal with it himself. Shi Tsong smiled secretly. It was fine as long as the second female lead and Liang Chao did not change. The Apex. Chapter 297. You're here. Su He looked at Tang Guo sarcastically, then looked at Liang Chao in the distance and walked closer. You hooked up with Liang Chao again. You're so cheap. Attention, the drama queen is online. Tang Guo raised her eyes and looked at Su He with an extremely hurt expression. Her eyes were red, as if she was about to cry, as if she had been wronged by the heavens. Su He felt a little uncomfortable. Your acting skills have improved. No wonder you dared to act in Shi Tsong's drama. Su He suddenly remembered something and laughed. No, I forgot. Your acting skills have always been good. Otherwise, you would have to deal with Xiao Nia while pretending to be deeply in love with me. Tang Guo, don't you think you are disgusting? Tang Guo burst into tears. She felt wronged and had difficulties in her heart. When she saw the person she loved slandering her, she didn't know how to explain. She held the thermos flask helplessly and lowered her head. Tears fell drop by drop. You're so funny. Tang Guo, you're so funny. You look really touching when you cry. Su He walked closer and looked at the woman condescendingly. Unfortunately, I won't be fooled again. You're the best at acting. You're so cruel and disgusting. Now, are you trying to pretend to be wronged and make me sympathize with you and help you clarify the rumors? You wish. Let me tell you, Tang Guo. I love Wenwen. Whether it was before or after I met you, the person I love is Wenwen. Who do you think you are? Yes, you're just a toy. I'm angry because someone I hate stole a toy from me, that's all. Su He, shut up. Liang Chao was shaking with anger. He had only been there for a while. He thought that Su He wouldn't dare to do anything to Tang Guo. He was so relieved. When he saw Tangwa lowering her head, he felt that something was wrong. Then, he realized that the ground was wet. She was crying. He didn't think too much. He rushed over and punched Soo-hee. Soo-hee, you're fucking inhuman. Soo-hee also did not expect Liang Chao to hit him. He rubbed the corner of his mouth that was hurting and said sarcastically, "You're really capable, Tangwa." Bai Wenwen also ran over quickly and asked about Tangwa's well-being. She looked at Tangwa very unkindly. 875, I want another unlucky talisman. Throw it on Liang Chao. No, I want two. Throw the other one on Tangwa. Tangwa buried her head in her hands. Although she was crying, her eyes were clear. When she heard the strange voice, she communicated with the system. Tongzi, she has a system too. She seems to be a fast transmigrator. Host, I've already researched it. I'm much more advanced than 875. They can't hear our conversation. As long as the host is willing, I can hack the other party's program at any time and let them be rebuilt. Not bad, Tongzi. You're getting better and better. Like I said, I will become more and more powerful. Hee, host, do you want me to swallow the other party? The system glowed. He felt that if he swallowed the other party, he could level up. Tangwa's mouth curved. No, you can put the unlucky talisman on Bai Wenwen and Soo-hee. Understood. Tangwa was very satisfied with Bai Wenwen, the female lead. The source of happiness in this world depended on her. No wonder the original owner died so miserably. The other party turned out to be a fast transmigrator. Unlike her, who was a cannon fodder supporting female lead, the other party was the female lead who captured the male lead. Kill them all. Kill them all. She was so jealous. Tongzi, they still have a big gift. Chapter 298. Soo-hee looked at Liang Chao's protection of Tangwa and felt even more disgusted with her. This woman was as disgusting as ever. He still wanted to say something, but was pulled by Bai Wenwen. Someone is coming. The contempt on Soo-hee's face disappeared in an instant, and a gentle smile appeared on his face. He walked in front of Tangwa. Miss Tang, please don't say anything in the future. We are already in the past. Soo-hee held Bai Wenwen's hand with an alienated smile. Now my girlfriend is Bai Wenwen. Miss Tang, please be more reserved. Let's forget about today's matter. It's the first day of shooting. He glanced at the others coming over and smiled. It's also for the sake of Director Shi's face, so I won't bother about it. Tangwa lowered her head and smiled. Tongzi, have you recorded it? It had been recorded. Great. The people who came later all heard Soo-hee's words and imagined the plot just now. They thought that Soo-hee had bullied Tangwa until she cried. They didn't expect that Tangwa was shameless and hooked up with Liang Chao. Even after seeing Soo-hee, she still didn't give up. This woman was really as cheap as what was exposed. Soo-hee rubbed Bai Wenwen's head. Wenwen, I'll come to, okay. Bai Wenwen looked gentle. The two of them stood there and were really a good match. Before leaving, Soo-hee said to Tangwa again, if Miss Tang has any grievances in your heart, please don't put the trouble on Wenwen. For the sake of our previous friendship, I can forgive your previous rudeness. After that, Soo-hee put his hands in his trouser pockets and left. The actresses and the crew all stared at him, saying that the Prince Charming was so handsome. Their eyes sparkled as they looked at Bai Wenwen with envy and jealousy. The Prince Charming is so gentle. Yes, it would be great if the Prince Charming was mine. Hearing this, the corners of Bai Wenwen's mouth hooked up, and she communicated with the system. Tangwa is really stupid. She actually abandoned such an excellent man like Soo-hee. Tang Gua heard the words in by Wenwen's heart and sneered. She stared at Soo-hee's back and raised her eyebrows. Then, she glanced at the actresses who were staring at Soo-hee. Seeing that Soo-hee was about to disappear, for some reason, Soo-hee screamed and fell to the ground. It was a dog-eating shit posture. Tang Gua burst out laughing, and the others were also confused. Bai Wenwen reacted quickly and ran to Soo-hee. Just as she was about to run in front of Soo-hee, she didn't know what she stepped on. With a cry, she fell towards Soo-hee. Ah! Soo-hee's screams were like a pig being slaughtered. The audience, who were originally in a mess, was also stunned. They did not understand what was going on. Shirtsong had just arrived when he saw this scene. The overlapping man and woman in front of him, as well as Soo-hee's scream, had left a deep impression on him. Liang Chao was the first one who couldn't help but laugh out loud. In front of so many people, he didn't dare to do anything to Soo-hee before. Now that he was laughing out loud, he was very happy. Finally, Soo-hee was carried to the hospital. Bai Wenwen was fine. Seeing Soo-hee's pale face in pain, she had to ask for leave with Shirtsong to go to the hospital. Soo-hee's leg is broken. Liang Chao laughed like a pig. It was broken by Bai Wenwen. That woman doesn't look fat, but I didn't expect her to be so heavy. Also, I heard that when Soo-hee was being carried into the ambulance, the stretcher broke for some reason and he fell straight down. Chapter 299. Did Soo-hee do something wrong? When she got out of the ambulance, she was pushed by a crazy woman who was causing trouble in the hospital and fell on her butt. Liang Chao couldn't help but laugh when he thought of this. The entire dressing room was filled with his laughter. It was especially demonic. His assistant and makeup artist didn't dare to laugh out loud, but they were all holding back their laughter. Just as Liang Chao was talking excitedly, he saw someone walk in from the mirror and looked at him in surprise. Xiao Nia walked in front of Liang Chao and glanced at the dressing room. I'm looking for her. Liang Chao's eyes widened as he watched the man in casual clothes with messy hair and a gloomy aura lift the curtain and walk in. He grabbed the assistant's hand and asked, "Is he Xiao Nia?" Of course, he knew Xiao Nia. They were good friends. Yes. The assistant was in disbelief. Xiao Nia actually came to look for Tang Gua personally. Everyone in the industry knew about the relationship between Tang Gua and Xiao Nia. They even knew about the grudge between Xiao Nia and Soo-hee. But Tang Gua had already moved out of Xiao Nia's place. Outsiders didn't dare to expose Xiao Nia and only dared to slander Tang Gua. Xiao Nia stood behind Tang Gua. The woman didn't turn around. He was sure that she had seen him. She only turned around after the makeup was done. Xiao Nia sized her up from her school uniform and used 3 words to describe the woman in front of him. Simple, clean, bright. It was as if she was really a lively and confident high school girl. The smile on her face was especially bright. When are you moving in? Zhu Yi said, "Boss, you're too direct." Anytime. Tang Gua smiled. But you have to come and pick me up. Xiao Nia narrowed his eyes. You have to know the consequences of me coming to pick you up. What consequences? Confirming the rumors that you're being kept by someone. Tang Gua sneered. Isn't that the truth? Xiao Nia froze. She walked in front of Xiao Nia and placed her hands on his shoulders. I'm not afraid at all. Let's see if you're afraid. Everyone outside is saying that I'm a fickle woman who abandoned her boyfriend in order to climb up the social ladder. She looked up with a smile in her eyes. But you, Xiao Nia, and the rest don't dare to say a word. Besides, you did make me famous, didn't you? Tang Gua looked at Xiao Nia and touched him. You gave me a lot of resources. Now, we're just maintaining the relationship we had back then. Xiao Nia grabbed her hand. Behave yourself. Shoo, ee. She wanted to go out, but this big boss was standing at the door. Don't touch me. Tanggua snorted and leaned closer to Xiao Nia. She whispered, if people outside know that Xiao Nia can't do it, I wonder if it will make the headlines. Xiao Nia's eyes became more and more dangerous, emitting a deep light. He pinched Tanggua's chin and said, I'm here to pick you up today. If that's what you want, I'll satisfy you. With that, Xiao Nia left. The smile in the woman's eyes made him feel ironic and suffocated. Then he sneered. He didn't know why he was so soft-hearted towards this woman. Xiao Nia. Liang Chao stopped Xiao Nia. What are you doing here? Xiao Nia, since you've broken up with Xiaogua, don't disturb her, Liang Chao said. She's a good girl. Don't hurt her anymore. Xiao Nia stared at Liang Chao and said, she wants to move back to my place. How is that possible? Liang Chao didn't believe it. Hadn't Tanggua moved out from Xiao Nia's place? Chapter 300. Xiao Nia is not a good person. At least for women, he is not a good person. No matter how Liang Chao persuaded, Tanggua still did not change her mind. At this time, the people outside said that the shooting was about to start. This is the scene between Tanggua and Bai Wenwen. In the eyes of outsiders, Tanggua's acting is bad, and Bai Wenwen is a novice with little experience. They really want to see how Shi Tsong scolds people. Tanggua plays the second female lead. She has excellent grades, beautiful and generous. Her name is Lin Weiwei, and she is the campus belle. Bai Wenwen plays the female lead. Her grades are average. Her appearance is beautiful and gentle. Her name is Lin Jiji. When Lin Jiji was born, she was in poor health because she was held in the womb for too long. Therefore, her family treasures Lin Jiji very much. Liang Chao plays the male lead. He is tall, rich, handsome, gentle and sunny. He is the Prince Charming in the hearts of countless girls. His name is Qin Mo. Lin Weiwei is bright, confident, and a little arrogant. There are many people who like her and many people who don't like her. Lin Jiji is gentle and small. Many people pity her. Her thin body makes people reluctant to hurt her. The first scene has 3 people. It is Lin Jiji. Lin Weiwei transferred to the class of the school flower Qin Mo on the first day. Everyone is attracted by Lin Weiwei's bright appearance. Only Qin Mo sees Lin Jiji standing on one side with a light smile. Host, someone poured glue in your seat. The System 875 prompt sounded, and Bai Wenwen on the podium kept a light smile. Where is Tanggua's seat? No. Bai Wenwen sneered in her heart. She knew that these people would make trouble. After all, she was the female lead. Some people were jealous. After the self-introduction, Tanggua, who was supposed to play Lin Weiwei, went down first. Bai Wenwen took the lead and walked in front of Tanggua. She didn't sit on the seat with glue. As for Tanggua being stopped by the director later, it's none of her business. Anyway, she doesn't like Tanggua. After the scandal came out, she thought of her first love. This kind of woman is really disgusting. Bai Wenwen went to Tanggua's original seat. The details of the seat did not affect the plot. Tanggua followed behind her and watched Bai Wenwen carefully sit inside. Glancing at the transparent glue on the chair, she smiled and did what she shouldn't have done. Shi Tsong did not stop them. He thought that Tanggua's smile was very meaningful. She looked around as if she was saying, I found you. Lin Weiwei was a smart and flamboyant person. He was looking forward to what Tang Guo would do next. Then she saw Tang Guo bend down with a tissue in her hand. She slowly got up and said, "I really don't like this gift." After saying that, she waved the tissue and raised her eyebrows. "I didn't expect so many people to be jealous of my excellence on the first day. Teacher, shouldn't this kind of vandalism be reported and criticized?" Then, he took a book from the student next to him, put it on the seat, and sat down. "Student, you look very pale." Tang Guo was very happy. She had so many lines all of a sudden. The extras next to her were also very happy. All of a sudden, there was a pale scene. She quickly held her breath, making her face red and white. It was the kind of expression that was caught doing bad things. Sure enough, it was caught by Shi Kong. This extra's reaction was good and they were very satisfied. By Wen extras, ha 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 ha, they really laughed. Chapter 301. Shi Tsong clapped her hands and said good. The laughter of the extras just now was also very good. She didn't know who did the glue, but she didn't have to stop it. In this way, she showed that Lin Weiwei was not a bully. She had to say that it was wonderful. Bai Wenwen sat quietly inside and pursed her lips. She didn't expect that Tang Guo had some skills. After shooting a scene, everyone remembered the role of Lin Weiwei and the suffocating extras. Later, Shi Tsong added more scenes, which made her very happy. She was particularly attentive to Tang Guo. On the contrary, Bai Wenwen, who played Lin Jiji, they looked at her with deep eyes. Did the glue have anything to do with Bai Wenwen? This drama is mainly about Lin Jiji and Lin Weiwei, twin sisters with different appearances and personalities, in high school. As soon as Lin Weiwei arrived at school, she was very popular. She had excellent grades, excellent sports, and excellent dancing. She soon got along with her classmates. Lin Jiji was not in good health. She didn't dare to do strenuous exercise. Her grades were average, but she played the piano well. When Lin Weiwei and the male lead Qin Mo were on the court, she was playing the piano silently. Lin Weiwei gradually fell in love with the male lead Qin Mo after fighting with him. She thought that Qin Mo was as good as her and was a good match for her. Qin Mo had a good impression of Lin Weiwei. No one didn't like Lin Weiwei. If he hadn't passed by the piano classroom by chance, listening to the mellow and beautiful music and looking at the lonely and thin back, something might have happened between him and Lin Weiwei. Since he came into contact with Lin Jiji, he deliberately avoided contact with Lin Weiwei, which made Lin Weiwei, who had always been proud, unable to stand it and began to deliberately target Qin Mo. Her target was not sarcasm or abuse. She was a proud person and disdained to do these things. Her way was to get first in grades, sports, everything, and let Qin Mo always be the second. She didn't have a bad impression of Lin Jiji, nor did she have a good impression of Lin Jiji. After finding out that Lin Jiji liked Qin Mo, she occasionally ridiculed Lin Jiji. Then in everyone's impression, Lin Weiwei became a vicious sister. Tang Guo was comfortable all over. This role was simply suitable for her. Throughout the whole process, the second female lead's various skills were revealed, dazzling the eyes of her classmates. Although in the later stages, she would not be able to obtain Qin Mo's love, but she did not care, as long as she was happy in the beginning and the middle. System, as long as you're happy. Bai Wenwen was somewhat aggrieved. She had a lot of scenes, but every time, she felt that she was suppressed by Tang Guo. Tang Guo could taunt her as she pleased and respond in all sorts of domineering ways. She could only speak gently and softly. She smiled gently at the male lead, Qin Mo. She smiled gently and revealed a kind expression. She didn't say anything about her baby's grievances. Tang Guo could announce publicly that she liked Qin Mo and let everyone know her feelings. As for her role as Lin Jiji, she could only shyly care about Qin Mo and didn't dare to announce it in public. In the whole movie, the most aggrieved person was Bai Wenwen. Fortunately, in the later stage, Bai Wenwen recovered and began to slap Tang Guo's face. This time, she had already planned to suppress Tang Guo and let the other party be aggrieved once. Xiao Nye came to the scene secretly. He stood in the corner and looked at the flamboyant girl on the camera. There was a tear on her face. She said, "It turns out that the person you like is her." She didn't cry or make a scene, but her tears couldn't stop dripping. She raised her head as if to force the tears back. Chapter 302. Bai Wenwen felt a little refreshed in her heart and quickly answered the lines, "Sister, I'm sorry." She showed a painful expression, "If Qin Mo likes sister, I will not come between you, but from the beginning, Qin Mo said that he likes me. I know that sister likes him very much. Everyone in the school knows. Seeing sister happy, I don't know what to say to you." Bai Wenwen felt very refreshed. Now she understood who Qin Mo likes, right? Just ask her to slap her face. Since childhood, sister has always been outstanding. I can't compare with sister, and I don't dare to compete with sister. But Qin Mo, I'm sorry, sister, I won't give him to you. Lin Jiji, who has always been gentle, stubbornly raised her head, because he likes me. I can't give him to you just because you are my sister. Doing so will hurt him. Bai Wenwen felt very refreshed and complained to the system, "I've really been suffocating for a while." Next was Tang Guo's line. She looked at the actor who played Liang Chao and smiled with tears, "Since you like her, why didn't you say so earlier? Are you happy to see me confess to you every day?" "Very satisfied. Very proud." Bai Wenwen, the actors, "Is the line wrong?" But Shirtsong didn't ask them to stop, so they didn't dare to say anything. Tang Guo walked to Liang Chao and sneered, "Is it fun to play with me?" Then there was a paw sound which shocked the people present. Bai Wenwen was also shocked and quickly called the system, "This woman is crazy. Is she too deep into the role and treats Liang Chao as Suhi? Host, your task is to capture a man. Target Xiao Nye found, do you want to capture him?" Bai Wenwen didn't even think about it and said yes. She also asked how much the favorability was. Xiao Nye's current favorability was 90. Bai Wenwen almost fainted. How could it be 90? Shirtsong didn't ask them to stop, so Tang Guo continued. Liang Chao looked at Tang Guo in disbelief. But his face didn't hurt. When Tang Guo hit him, she didn't use any strength at all, but the sound was very loud. Bai Wenwen quickly ran over and blocked Liang Chao behind her. She looked at Tang Guo with a vigilant look. Her previous lines were useless. Shirtsong didn't tell her to stop, so she could only brace herself and try her best to maintain her gentle image. "Sis." Tang Guo didn't look at Bai Wenwen. She only stared at Liang Chao and said, "I'm going abroad. You guys go ahead." After she finished speaking, she turned around without hesitation. However, the camera continued to follow her. The tears that she had been holding back suddenly burst out. She ran wildly, leaving a proud and embarrassed back view for the two of them. It wasn't that she didn't like Liang Chao, but Liang Chao liked Lin Jiji. She was proud and disdained to steal her sister's man. In the beginning, she didn't know about it. But after knowing, no matter how much she liked Qin Mo, she wouldn't continue. Everyone present seemed to instantly understand what this proud girl was thinking. How could a highly educated, confident, and proud person do something like snatching a man from her younger sister? She only had one choice, which was to leave this place with her head held high. They didn't know why, but they felt sour in their hearts. Before everyone could come back to their senses, Xiao Nie had already left the crowd and blocked Tang Guo at the school gate. He wanted to hand her some tissues, but he saw the woman walk back with a smile, his arm a little stiff. The woman walked over and hugged his arm very intimately. "Ah, Nie." Chapter 303. Xiao Nie was speechless. "You're here to see me?" "No, he was just passing by." Tang Guo looked up. "Ah, Nie, help me wipe the tears on my face and see if my makeup is ruined." Xiao Nie had no choice but to take out a tissue to wipe her face. At this moment, he heard the sound of someone taking a picture. Instinctively, he pulled Tang Guo behind him. "You've been photographed," he said gloomily. "I'll take care of it." "No, I've been scolded by the netizens for so long." "Finally, you've been photographed. If you want to be embarrassed, let's be embarrassed together." When Shizong followed them out, he heard Tang Guo say that they should be embarrassed together. Then, he saw Xiao Nie nod. He took a deep breath. Xiao Nie wasn't serious, was he? "Xiao Guo, your scenes are almost done. You need to shoot a few more scenes. In a few years, you'll be done." Tang Guo held Xiao Nie's arm and led him in. Everyone in the crew knew that, so they did not dare to mess with Tang Guo. If they could get along with the genius director, they would be rich. Also, in the past 2 months, Tang Guo's performance was amazing. Not only was she good at acting, she never acted like a big shot. Their impression of her had improved. Xiao Nie listened to Tang Guo and did not care about those people who were taking pictures. As expected, they were in the headlines the next day. The genius director on the list of famous female celebrities Tang Guo and Xiao Nie. Countless posts scolding Tang Guo appeared on Weibo again. There were all kinds of nasty comments. In the end, someone scolded Xiao Nie on Weibo. He scolded him for not knowing how to support such a person. He even said that he would not watch his movies or TV series anymore. Anyway, it was all kinds of nasty comments. Soon, many people started to scold Xiao Nie. Soon, people on Weibo were in an uproar. Everyone could not believe what they were seeing. Because those who scolded Xiao Nie realized that their comments had been liked. It was normal to be liked, but the person who liked it was not normal. She was Tang Guo. They thought that it was someone's account that was defaming Tang Guo and didn't pay much attention to it at first. Then, everyone realized that Tang Guo had really liked the post. She was using her main account, the one with tens of millions of fans. So far, she was still giving likes. She would give likes to anyone who scolded Xiao Nie. Then, another trending topic appeared. Tang Guo likes it. I just went to comment on Xiao Nie's Weibo and even scolded him. Are you blind, Xiao Nie? A minute later, Tang Guo liked my post. Oh my god, she gave me a like too. Is she crazy? Have you been poisoned? Tang Guo's fans were also dumbfounded. Just as they were worrying, they saw their idol post on Weibo. I'm happy. The audience, ? Bai Wenwen also saw it and communicated with the system. Is she really crazy? Such behavior might anger Xiao Nie. Without Xiao Nie, she might not be able to survive. However, this was good. One of her targets was Xiao Nie and Liang Chao. Thinking of these two people, one with 90 and the other with 80 favorability, she had a headache. Soon, someone exposed the news that Tang Guo was playing the second female lead in a high school romance. Therefore, Tang Guo's old scores were all dug up. Almost all the comments about Tang Guo on the internet were asking her to get out of the entertainment industry. At the same time, Xiao Nie, who had a good image, also lost a lot of favorability. At this moment, Tangguo was at Xiao Nie's house, happily scrolling through Weibo and giving likes to the comments scolding Xiao Nie. The system only knew that the host was very happy. As long as she was happy. Chapter 304. Xiao Nie grabbed Tangguo's phone and flipped through it. He didn't care about the abuse on it at all. Is this what you want? It's none of your business. You hate me. There's no need to get yourself involved. Xiao Nie put his hands on Tangguo's shoulders. He will only be happier if you give up on yourself like this. He doesn't know the truth. Who said I gave up on myself? Tangguo pushed Xiao Nie away and curled her lips. I just want you to experience the feeling of being scolded. As for me, I'm used to being scolded. It doesn't matter if there's one more person or one less person. Xiao Nie looked at her smiling face and felt a little uncomfortable in his heart. Because of Tangguo and Xiao Nie, high school romance was also trending every day. Now the audience was very curious about this TV series. Yes, they found that no matter how they scolded Tangguo, she would still happily like the post scolding Xiao Nie. This made them feel like punching cotton, which was very unpleasant. They also took out the TV series and movies that Tangguo had acted in before to scold her, but she was still very happy to like them. This was a little infuriating. Now that they knew that Tangguo was the second female lead in this TV series, the anti-fans laughed happily. Every day, they stared at the day of the broadcast, waiting for the time to start a massacre. They must scold Tangguo so badly that she would never be able to raise her head in the entertainment industry. Bai Wenwen said that this woman was crazy and had no intention of dealing with her at all. Moreover, there was also a problem with her strategy. The person with the highest favorability was Wei Chuan, 90. It was about to reach 100, which made her very happy. The other person was Su He, whose favorability was 80. Since they announced that they were together, Su He's favorability had not increased. As for the other two people with negative favorability, Bai Wenwen felt a headache. She tried to meet Liang Chao by chance, but unfortunately, he didn't care about her at all. His favorability decreased by 10 and became 90 like Xiao Nie. She didn't dare to touch these two people easily. Once the favorability reached 100, the strategy would fail. She would lose a lot of experience and be punished. On the other side, Tangguo was taking Xiao Nie to the mall. Xiao Nie didn't agree. If they went out now, they would definitely be chased by the paparazzi. Are you going or not? No. Okay. Tangguo took out her phone and called Liang Chao. Let's go shopping. Before she could finish, Xiao Nie snatched the phone and hung up. Go. Tangguo's reputation had already been ruined. Now that she appeared with Liang Chao, Xiao Nian rubbed his forehead. He felt a headache coming on. He had to help his friend. Liang Chao, who was about to agree, was speechless. Don't provoke Liang Chao. He didn't do anything wrong to you, Xiao Nie said seriously and turned off Tangguo's phone. Tangguo froze for a moment, then retracted her smile. Then I won't go. With that, she turned and went back to her room. Xiao Nie looked at the empty living room and frowned. Host, what is the meaning of this? Tangguo couldn't help but laugh. Tongzi, have you been reading too much ancient literature recently? If you're unhappy, then act up. System. For a while, how is Bai Wenwen doing? Thanks to the host, out of the 4 targets, none of them were successfully conquered. What will happen if she fails? Host, that system has a punishment system. If you fail the mission, you will be struck by lightning and roasted. It won't be visible on the surface, but your soul will be injured. That system is not a good thing. Once she succeeds in conquering people, most of their luck will be sucked away. As long as Bai Wenwen doesn't stay with them for a long time, they will become more and more miserable. Chapter 305. There's news about the reality show. Zhu Yi glanced at the woman who was curled up on the couch and eating potato chips. She then glanced at Xiao Nian, who was sitting on the other side. The production crew has already confirmed the time. We'll be leaving next Monday. As soon as Zhu Yi finished speaking, she noticed Tang Guo. Little Yi, is there anything else? Tang Guo asked. Guo, this is a survival manual. Take a look at it when you have time. I'll help you prepare the items for the trip. I heard that the place we're going to this time is close to a primeval forest. The production crew said that they'll make it bigger this time. However, there will be snakes, spiders, scorpions, and other animals. Zhu Yi gulped as she stole a glance at Xiao Nian. It's really dangerous. It's not too late if you change your mind. What reality show? Xiao Nian asked as he raised his head. Zhu Yi sighed in relief. That was a good question. She had wasted so much time talking to him. A celebrity who walked into the forest. It's a survival reality show. The place we're going to is very dangerous, Zhu Yi said quickly. I'm a little worried, but Guo insists on going. Xiao Nian looked at Tang Guo. Don't try to talk me out of it, Tang Guo said as she munched on her potato chips. I'm not trying to talk you out of it. Go if you want to. Xiao Nian looked at the script in his hand. He seemed to be reading something seriously, which attracted Tang Guo's attention. Tang Guo moved from the couch to Xiao Nian's side and glanced at the script. A new script? Yeah. I want to act in it. Xiao Nian looked up. Are you sure? Yes. Zhu Yi was still in disbelief as Xiao Nian placed the script in Tang Guo's hand. See which one you like. Zhu Yi was a little surprised. Wasn't Xiao Nian always very strict when it came to choosing actors? From the time of the casting to the start of filming, even in the middle of filming, the actors could be replaced at any time. Xiao Nian would rather reshoot the show without any cost than let an actor ruin his work. He was a very principled person. However, wasn't it a little inappropriate for him to casually toss the script to her and let her pick it herself? Zhu Yi felt that Xiao Nian's entire life had been ruined by a woman named Tang Guo. Ever since this woman and he had appeared in public, every time the netizens scolded Tang Guo, they would also drag Xiao Nian out. Zhu Yi wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and realized that his goddess was reading the script seriously. I want the second female lead. Tang Guo's answer surprised Zhu Yi and Xiao Nian. As long as one was an actress, everyone wanted to be the female lead. It was rare for Xiao Nian to ask, why? The second female lead was indeed very outstanding, but she was not as outstanding as the first female lead. Moreover, she had a very obvious personality flaw. In short, she was not a very likable character. Zhu Yi was also wondering why she was the second female lead. Tang Guo replied, the female half of her life has been sacrificing for the male lead. After countless setbacks and misunderstandings, she finally got together with the male lead. It looks like everyone is happy, but in reality, their hearts are already filled with despair. Xiao Nian was stunned. That was indeed the case. The ending of a TV series was perfect, but people often did not pay attention to what happened after the ending. In fact, the story that continued after the ending was not necessarily beautiful. Then why did you only choose the second female lead? The third female lead is also a more outstanding role. Zhu Yi could not help but ask. Chapter 306. Tang Guo smiled. Because the second female lead had a loyal follower. Until she died, there was also a person who loved her so much that he even followed her. This person has never betrayed her. He will always stand by her side. She seemed to be unable to get the love of the male lead, but in fact, she already had a better love. Xiao Nia stared at the smiling woman and unconsciously became infatuated. When she talked about the loyal follower of the second female lead, the warm light in her eyes went straight to his heart, as if there really was such a person. Who was she thinking about? Who was this person? Xiao Nia took back the script and carefully looked at the role of the second male lead. He didn't pay attention to it before, but after Tanguo said that, he found that he had overlooked it. Perhaps, he should add something to it. For example, the second female lead later liked the second male lead, but she didn't admit it. When she died, she told the second male lead to live well. She didn't express her feelings, but she hoped that he would live well. This was the most love for a person. Xiao Nie's eyes lit up. In this way, the role of the second female lead would be even more perfect. As for the second male lead, he was silent for a while and found that the character was very similar to Liang Chao's. He pinched the script and turned back to the study. He thought that the second male lead was like Liang Chao and was not steady at all. He could be like anyone, but not Liang Chao. Liang Chao was too jumpy. Yeah. I want the second female lead. Will you give it to me or not? Yes. Xiao Nia answered without thinking and then closed the door with a bang. He wanted to create a perfect second male lead, a person who lived only for the second female lead. Zhu Yi asked carefully, Guogua, are you okay? The big director was both happy and angry. Except for Tanguo, no one dared to provoke him. What can happen? Tanguo looked at Weibo and laughed. Now Xiao Nia is more scolded than me, and his reputation is very bad. I'm happy. Zhu Yi, is that so? Goddess, is it really okay for you to do this? In less than 2 days, the school drama, High School Romance, was broadcast. Before the broadcast, tens of thousands of netizens waited in front of the TV and computer. The mouse was ready to move, and they were also thinking about how to scold Tanguo. On the contrary, almost no one paid attention to Bai Wenwen, who played Lin Jiji. Now, everyone wanted to find fault with Tanguo in this drama. In this strange style, Tanguo was on the hot search every day. Every 2 days, she would make the headlines. The company had also arranged 2 assistants for Tanguo. Originally, there were all kinds of endorsements and advertisements, but they were all rejected by Tanguo. So what if his image wasn't good? As long as there was attention, it was fine. He didn't do anything crazy. This was how it was in this industry. As long as he didn't touch the law, attention was the most important thing. Tanguo was also waiting in front of the computer. As soon as the opening song appeared, the screen was filled with comments. The entire screen was filled with, Tanguo, get out of the entertainment industry, comments. The netizens' thoughts were unprecedentedly unanimous. They all knew that no matter what they scolded, that woman would definitely ignore them. They might as well scold Tanguo, get out of the entertainment industry, together. It would be more conspicuous. At least let that woman understand that they would not support her. Because of Tanguo, the anti-fans also spontaneously organized a non-governmental organization called Tanguo's Anti-Fan Group. This group was made up of Tanguo's anti-fans. The way they signed in was, each person scolded Tanguo once a day. The greeting words were, did you scold Tanguo today, and did Tanguo like you?